All right, man. We are back with another episode of Small Town Success. Today's episode is my lifelong brother here. Not lifelong, but at
It
least past
feels like
10.
life.
It's a long 10 years, man. It's my brother Cedric Thompson. Many of you may know him, from his football fame. Played Division One football at University of Minnesota. Drafted by the Dolphins. Bounced around the league for a couple years. Now he's I would say social media, YouTube, kind of
Mm,
doing everything, man. He's worked with a lot of brands out there doing. I mean,
mm,
he does a lot, and so he's transitioned well from his football days to figuring out this whole social media thing that he's
mm.
rolling with right now. Um, I don't know what you would be considered. Do you want to say you're an influencer? Do you? I don't know. I don't know what you want to
Uh,
call it.
I mean, I think people will call it social media like influencer, but I see myself as more of like a creator, and like
Yeah.
I'm able to like do things that I love and make things that I love to share and get paid for them. Is how I
Yeah,
like to
yeah,
look
yeah.
at it. Because when you look at influencers, like I'm not trying to influence anybody to do anything, right? I'm just trying to tell stories from my life and my perspective that hopefully can make people think, and
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, that's what I said I would do.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that. Creators definitely
Mm,
sounds a little more in line of what you're trying to do because
mm,
I think for the ones that don't really know, I mean, you actually if you go click on one of Cedric's videos, I mean the quality, the editing, the
mm,
like the video, man. I mean, it's all of it is. Cedric's super talented in that regard, and I mean he's been able to make himself transition to make himself a great living doing something that
mm.
he loves. But man, we're fired up to have you on here. We've been able to kind of branch out with the episodes so far for this podcast. With relationships that we have and of people that we find interesting that have a story to tell.
Mm,
Coming from a similar background or similar situation like us, making it out of a small town, very similar to people's stories across the United States, where
mm,
whether it's in sports or business or whatever it may be, but
mm,
getting out of get making it, whether it's making it in a small town and doing something big with your life, or getting out of
mm,
the small town to do something big. But
mm.
yeah, we want to highlight these stories and. For some of you may know Cedric's story somewhat, but this is a cool opportunity for us to kind of dive back and go back through the story and kind of lay it out there a little bit more, and this will be a unique one because I know the story so well, so I can kind of guide this thing into more into some detail with this. But so without further ado, man, we appreciate you taking the time to jump on this with us tonight.
Oh no, for sure, bro. I was super excited to do this. I always love talking about like really this Imperial Valley. Like I really said, like the valley really made me into who I am. Like truly, like I'm originally from LA, and obviously with the gangs and the life that is out there is pretty much the norm of like being a black young male. And then for me to take a chance to move to Bombay Beach and then go to the Imperial Valley, it really shaped me. I would think morally and like ethically, and all the determination and grit and just pure work ethic. It really came from me moving to the valley. So I always love sharing this story and really any
Yeah,
story from people who have come out of like small towns and really did something, because
yeah,
it's different. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy, and it takes true willpower and determination, and you really find out if you really want something when you come from a place like where we come from.
yeah.
Yep. Mm.
Yeah, that's there's no doubt about that. You're so your early part of the story, you were so for people who don't know, let them know you were born and raised in Los Angeles.
Yes, I was born in Inglewood, California. I was born and raised in LA. I never really had one stable home. I was always moving from Compton to South Central to Inglewood to Gardena. We were
Yeah,
always moving because my parents did a good job of keeping us away from, like, we stayed in like the hoods, but like we always stayed like where like the safe parts were at. So I
yeah,
had a really good childhood. I had two great parents who really I was really oblivious to like the gang life that I was around. Even all my family were gang members because my parents didn't want us to have, me and my siblings to have that life. So they did a
Yeah.
really good job of like kind of keeping us oblivious to that. So I was born and raised in LA, and then my mom and dad got a divorce, or we actually ran away from my dad when I was going into high school, and then I moved out to Palmdale for 1 year, and then that's when I started getting in trouble. I'm like fighting all the time. I'm like starting riots at school. I'm like not going to class because my mom and dad got divorced, and that's all I ever knew. And then when they got divorced, yeah, I was out in Palmdale, and then when I was getting in trouble, um, I got into this really big fight with my siblings, and my mom essentially told me I had to go live with my dad.
Yeah.
And I was already at a crossroads. Like, man, I need to figure something out because like I got a little brother. My brother was watching everything that I did. So when I was fighting, he was like trying to figure out who he gonna fight at school. So I knew my brother was
Yeah.
watching me. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I gotta get the hell up out of here. You know what I'm saying? So I made a decision to like go live with my dad in Bombay. Now, mind you, when I was leaving, my mom was speaking to me in like anger, like she was saying she wanted me to leave. But when it was time for me to leave, she didn't want me to go.
Yeah.
And that's when I really had to make the decision, like, am I really gonna do this?
Yeah.
And then I said, yeah. I said, I gotta get up out of here. Like, I gotta do something different. At this time, nobody in my family graduated high school. Nobody went to college, and I knew that I needed to do something different. And I knew moving was the right decision. And I made a decision to move to Bombay Beach and really took that leap. Now, if I look back on my life and tell you right now, I will be where I'm at based on where I was moving to, I'll be damn lying to you in your face right now. Like I would never
Yeah.
think I would achieve the success that I've had in my life and have the wife and the kids and the NFL and D1 and all that stuff if I didn't go to this. I would have never guessed that because I'm moving to a place where you wouldn't think this place existed in the United States. You know what I'm saying? This is something
No,
you think,
especially
yeah.
coming from
Mm, mm,
especially coming from where you were,
mm,
like I said, when we've talked about it, uh, I've been here my whole life for the most part, right?
mm,
Minus when I went to college, and I'd never been to Bombay Beach till I
mhm,
met you,
mhm,
and so it's not even if you're from here, you don't really know Bombay
mhm,
Beach. Like you've
mhm,
heard of it, right?
mhm,
It's a little place off the Salton Sea. So for those who don't know, uh,
mhm.
it's this tiny, at one point in time was going to be a resort town when they thought the
This is
Salton
like in
Sea
the
was.
50s or 60s. This is a
Yeah,
long
they thought
time
the
ago.
Salton Sea was going to be this booming,
Mhm,
place. It's just south of Palm Desert and that area, Palm Springs, and they thought it was going to be a lake where people come to vacation and all these stars, right?
mhm,
James Dean and Frank Sinatra, and these people are buying
mhm,
homes there, and like Bombay Beach
mhm,
was one of those areas. It was going to be
mhm,
this place, right? And
mhm,
then they realized like the sea was filling up with salt, or it was not safe to swim in at some point in time.
mhm,
Started to deteriorate, and the whole dream died. Well,
mhm,
this area by Bombay Beach and some of
mhm,
the other areas that surround the Salton Sea were
mhm,
these at one time these shining gems of cities
mhm,
that if you look it up now and you go watch the Bombay Beach documentary that you were on, it's kind of it tells a very different story. And
mhm.
yeah, so for you to go there, coming from bounce around LA, inner city LA, Palmdale, and then to, if I remember the story correctly, you rolled down at night. I don't think you'd ever been there, right?
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't remember if I went there before, but I never actually been there. I pulled up at nighttime in my dad's blue van. And I
Yeah.
remember seeing the water. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, we got some water. Like, that's cool. It's a lake or whatever.
Yeah.
And in Bombay ain't really no lights. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, we walk up
Yeah.
in the house and I'm seeing the house. I'm like, this is low key like it's kind of like a trailer, like whatever. I'm like, whatever. Like I can adapt. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever. One bedroom
Yeah.
house, me and my pops. I remember waking up the next day and I walked outside. I'm like, what the hell? Like,
Did I
where
get
the hell am I
myself
at?
into?
Yeah. So I'm like, damn. So then it was like, all right, well, I already made this decision. Like I ain't going back on it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm here. You know what I'm saying? So then from there,
Yeah.
I figured it out. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know. And it's funny because the first school that I actually heard about when I Googled like schools out here was Brawley. That's the school that popped up when it was you put in Imperial
Yeah.
Valley schools. And I'm like, all right. And I told my dad, I'm like, yo, I want to go to Brawley because the football team. Like I think the
Yeah.
football team is cool. And I like the colors. I love the colors. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to go to Brawley. I didn't know about Calipat because like Calipat didn't show
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
It didn't
Yeah.
show
Well,
up.
you
Yeah.
should have. Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember somebody, I want to go to Brawley. We looked into it and we found out, well, the only school that you can go to from here is Calipat because there's a bus that goes
That's your
there.
district, yeah.
Yeah, and then I remember Googling, I'm like, Calipat, like they ain't even got no damn football pictures up here. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even know what the football, I don't even know what the football team like.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. So I'm now, mind you, I'm going to Bombay. I'm out there for the summer, and then school. We signed up for school. I got to go out there, so I see the school for the first time. All right, whatever. So, and mind you, the high school I was going to before was like 3,000 kids in
Yeah.
Palmdale, huge high school. So I remember going to school, going riding the bus, and I'm like, bro, this long ass, but I gotta get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to catch the bus. And like, mind you, I never caught a school bus before that. My mama would and my daddy would take me to school.
Yeah.
So catching the bus, I'm like, well, this is terrible. Like, it's an hour long bus ride. We driving up
You're a
mountains.
sophomore in high school, right?
So yeah, sophomore in high school. We driving up mountains, picking up kids in like these crazy places. I'm just like, bro, what the hell? So I get to Calipat, and then and mind you, I'm only in Bombay. I don't really get to the valley yet for months.
Yeah.
I walk up into the school, and I'm like, damn, everybody is Mexican. Like I ain't never seen like because where I'm from, everybody black, black and Mexicans and whatever, a few white people. I'm like, damn, bro, everybody here is Mexican.
Yeah.
I'm like 2-3 black dudes, including me. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
And mind you, where I'm from in LA, like I didn't really get along with Mexicans because we fought over territory and whatever. So I'm already kind of on edge. But I learned really quickly. I'm like, yo, like these Hispanics or Mexicans are different from the ones from LA. So then I get more comfortable. So then I remember like it was like my second day. I'm like, I bet. So my second day I go back, and then Coach Shaw, David Shaw. I didn't know he was a coach. David Shaw, man, with one arm comes and walks up to him. I'm like, what the hell? This man got one arm. So he's like, yeah, I'm the football coach. You play football? I'm like, yeah. I mean, I've been playing all my life. Like, you wanna play? I'm like, yeah, I want to play. So now I finally see like the football team. I'm like, this little ass school, this varsity, it's like 20 kids on this team. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
So then I signed up for football, and then that's kind of where it all starts. Sign up for the football team, and then I've committed to being here and going to this school and taking this bus commute, and I made that decision.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're a all right. So you roll in there, sophomore. You meet David Shaw, which obviously he would have profound impact on your life as things would move forward. So this loud ass dude with the nub coming up to you, probably jabbed you with it one time. Little bam was we all know David Shaw really well here, man, and that's our boy. So you meet him, and you at the time I'm sure you weren't thinking college or any of that kind of stuff. You just
at that point I was just playing football because it's what I did. Football is what I did growing up. Like I wasn't thinking college. I wasn't thinking like nothing. It was just like I'll play football because it was fun.
Yeah. So your sophomore year, you kind of start growing up a little bit out there. When did the documentary thing take place?
Yeah, so I was a sophomore, and I remember at this point I'm in school. I remember one day I got back home from catching the bus, and mind you, I didn't get back home. Like if school ended at 3 or whatever it is, I wouldn't get back home until like 5 o'clock because of the bus ride. You know what I'm saying? Because then we had to like go to Nile and drop all those kids off, wait for the little kids to get on the bus. Like, so I'm on this bus forever. So I remember I get back to Bombay, and like I get off the bus and I'm walking down to my house, and this little short lady with red hair and a hat on was like, "Hey, I want to film this documentary. Like, I want to film. Like, can I film? Like, I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever." And like I'm just walking, and I'm like, "Leave me the hell alone. I want to go home." Because mind you, people come to Bombay and always be filming stuff and asking some questions.
It's definitely.
She's just another one. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So gave her my number. I never thought about her again, and she kept calling me. And I'm like, okay, like I'm just gonna answer this lady call.
So for those that don't know, who is this person?
Her name is Alma Harrell. She's like a big time filmmaker now. Yeah, like she's like produced and directed.
For those that don't know, she directed
Honey Boy.
Honey Boy
with Shia LaBeouf.
With Shia LaBeouf. So it's doing big things now. So this is such a
and Bombay Beach was her first. It was her first film. Like so, it was her very first film before she like really took off. Yeah. So Alma kept calling, and I was like, all right, let me just answer this lady call. I'm bored in Bombay, ain't got nothing else to do. You know what I'm saying? I might as well go have her film me, and she had no plan. It was like, she's like, "What do you do here?" I'm like, "Shit, get up, go
Nothing.
for nothing." You know what I'm saying? She just would film it, and it's crazy because that span from my sophomore year all the way to my senior year, she filmed me my entire process of being
Yeah.
in Bombay,
Yeah.
and she made this documentary based off of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I remember, later on, I remember when that first, when the first, what do you call it? Little clip, the trailer came out. I
Mm-hmm.
remember it was after after I'd already been helping you. After you, I think you probably already had signed with Minnesota and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
I remember that came out. And I'm like, well, this thing looks amazing. Like this,
Yeah,
like
yeah. Mm-hmm.
because it
Mm-hmm.
was. So if anyone you get a chance, people out there, go check it out, man.
Mm-hmm.
Bombay Beach documentary.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. Ended up winning. It wins
Tribeca
a
Film
bunch of
Festival.
awards. Tribeca
Mm-hmm.
Film Festival. There you
Mm-hmm.
go. I think Cedric got to go out there for that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you did something out there when
Mm-hmm.
with Alma at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, amazing documentary. Tells and it really tells a cool story because at the time it was at about this point in Cedric's life,
Mm-hmm.
so it shows you a very unique perspective of where you
Mm-hmm.
were at and what was
Mm-hmm.
going on,
Mm-hmm.
and it is interesting because like you know in hindsight you didn't really have a plan, you didn't have anything, you were just kind of you wanted to go to school, you kind of talked about in that thing, but there was
Mm-hmm.
no direct vision.
Mm-hmm.
So so your sophomore year, you go into your junior year, so you start building up a little bit, you're kind of coming in your own. Or like we discussed earlier, my first time seeing you play was at your junior year at the carnival at Southwest
Mm-hmm.
High School. And
Mm-hmm.
I said I remember watching that and going, I remember like you were playing running back and you're like 5'7", 5'8", 170 pounds probably or something like that. But like
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching you going like, bro, this dude reminds me of Zay Shepard, who for at Brawley was an all-time great, one of the best running backs to come out of San Diego section. I think it held the record for a while. And I remember watching and thinking like, dude, this dude could play.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point in time, I was like, I wanted to help you out. And but yeah, so that year, I think you had a good year that year, right?
My junior year?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I snapped.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
solid year that year.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who don't know, Cedric lacks confidence.
Hey, I just say how it is, bro.
Yeah, so you pop off your junior year,
Mm-hmm.
you go into your senior year, and I remember, like senior year, that class, like I was helping Hunter's brother, Donnie, and helping Brandon Anders from Central, and so I knew these guys, and I knew who you were, but they said we hadn't got a chance to meet each other. I definitely I had reached out your junior year to your head coach,
Mm-hmm.
and he never got back to me. Ghosted me
Mm-hmm.
for a year,
Mm-hmm.
and finally, obviously we got a chance to get things popping. But so going through your senior year, during your time, just regular time, did you think like, oh, I'm gonna go play college football?
No, so for me, it was like when I worked really hard my sophomore year because I didn't really play that much my sophomore year until the end of the year. And then I was like, okay, well, I always knew I could play, you know what I mean? Like, but I want to be the starting running back next year. So I worked really hard, gained some weight, got a little bit taller, and then I really snapped there. I think I had like 1,400 yards and like whatever. Like I had a bunch of touchdowns and whatever. And then my senior year comes, I'm like, okay, I just want to beat that. Like I just want to do better than I did last year. And then I'm like my senior year, I was like really killing it. Like I'm just like I'm talking about like 200-300 yards a game. You know what I mean? Like I'm really really killing it. And then I'm like, yo, like I think I can like really do something with this. But to me, it got as far as like I just wanted to graduate high school. Somehow playing football well correlated to me graduating high school for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, honest to God, I had aspirations for college, but without really goals and really seeing it. And I never really thought about it. You know what I mean? It was just like,
Yeah.
not even like if it happens, it happens. It wasn't really on my radar, but I knew that I wanted to go to college. So no, like to me, it was just about working hard, playing good for my team, trying to win games, and going to school. That was really it. Like it wasn't like I didn't have any plans at all. It wasn't until I met you when I realized, I was like, damn. Because to me, it was like, damn, I really could do something with football, and that's the farthest that it went in my head.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
like
yeah.
not
You
through.
knew you could do something. You just
Yeah.
it never progressed into doing something
No,
or
not at
figuring
all.
out
Not
how
even
to do
close.
it.
I
Yeah.
didn't look before I met you, dog. I didn't do one thing. My junior year, I made a highlight tape, but that was more so for me because it was fun. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
wasn't to send out to
Yeah, you were
anybody. Like
always kind of into like video
videos and stuff.
stuff
Yeah.
and everything, which obviously isn't such a natural progression for you, and then what you're doing. Yeah, so your senior year, so you're balling, you're doing your thing, and said, man, the story of how Cedric and I ended up meeting. I was supposed to go. My plan was to go to the Bell game. So this dude's brother would have been playing quarterback against Central, which Brandon Andrews would play against Brandon, and I was going to go to that game. The athletic director had told me, yeah, like I'll get you on the list to get in the back gate to go to the game, because the Bell game, for those that don't know, it's our big game here. Could get anywhere from 5,000 or 6,000 people to the game on a big year, which is it's a lot of people at a high school game here. And so you got to get on this list. Well, I hit him up. I was working. I hit him up that day and didn't respond to me. I'm like, bro, okay, fine. So I remember I told my wife, I said, let's go to the Holtville Calapat game. I had coached those Holtville kids when they were sophomores that are seniors that were in your class, and I remember, Ethan Ming, he had blown up that year, and I was like, let's go see. I want to see this kid from Calapat play. So I was kind of excited about that. I was like, all right, whatever. Then you want to give me to the Brawley game? Fine, I'll go watch this game. I was salty a little bit, but yeah. So I was excited about it, though, because I knew you were good. And that week, my father-in-law, who was the athletic director at Holtville, had called me. I remember I was driving to work, and he said, hey, this kid from Calapat, he's like, what would you do to stop him? And it was just funny because he asked me, what would you do to stop him? What would you do? I'm like,
Did you say there's nothing you could do?
I said what I would do. I said I would put all the pressure in the world on the outsides on him. Make him beat you. Then don't let him sit back there. And I said I would rush the edges on him. I'd put pressure in his face. I'd put anyways. No, because I wasn't calling the defense. That's why it didn't work, bro. Bro,
please, ain't nothing you could have did to stop me, bro.
Bro, I would have been stunting the hell out of you. But anyways, so I'm watching the game, and I mean, Hunter, like the crazy thing with the way this thing went off is like, all right, like if I hadn't have gone to that game, I wouldn't have helped you.
Yeah. Absolutely not.
It's the craziest
absolutely
thing.
Not. Yeah.
The way it all worked out is it was supposed to work out. My I was there when you got engaged. I was there for your last college home game. I was there for your wedding. My son was in your wedding. Like our story, like
when I got drafted,
I called you before I was having my second child, sitting outside of the room to go in when we were having Kingston. Like we've been a part of each other's lives for the way it worked out, right? It was supposed to work out this way. And that's how it is. But it is crazy to think that the slightest change in the slightest change in a day could change the entire destiny. That's insane.
By far. It's crazy like to think back, like even like you saying that gives me chills, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like my entire life could be so different right now off of that one text message that you didn't get back.
Straight up, bro.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is the crazy thing to think about. You know what? So when you really sit back to think about the process of how it all happened, it is wild, man. And so we go to that game, and I remember it was pretty cold. And I remember bro, this fool just starts going off, bro. I remember like one of the first runs that you had that was like, well, okay, I think you had like a run towards the Holtville sideline, which is a decent run. But the big one was there's a run on your sideline where you hurdled the dude. And I'm like, bro, like I turned to Aaron, my wife, and I was like, that's not normal. Like this dude's legit. And so, yeah, you went off in that game. You had like 305 on the ground or something, and like 100 in the air.
Typical little game. You know
100 in the air, a touchdown. He had like half a tackle because he didn't play defense. I remember, I do remember this as well. I remember telling Aaron, I'm like, nah, but look at him though. He's grandstanding right now. This dude acts like he's hurt right now. He went to the sideline. I remember you
Bro,
going to the
I
sideline.
was hurt, bro. They pushed me over the bench. They pushed me over there. I was hurt. I actually
Bro,
was.
I remember thinking like, oh, this guy soft, bro. Like I remember
Oh,
thinking,
man.
but I do remember thinking, dude could play. But I remember
Mm,
going like, oh, you don't like to play defense though. And the
I
funny thing is,
didn't.
obviously, played defense in college. Draft the NFL, played defense in the NFL.
Mm,
Funny to think about how that transpired, but
mm,
yeah, dude goes off in the game. Uh, I told my father-in-law like, let me get those film, let me get the game film from that game plus your scout films. Let me get those films and I just put together a little 4-minute highlight and I just started. I put it on YouTube and started texting it out to coaches, emailing out to coaches, and uh, and then started. I wanted to get a little feedback before I really reached back out to you guys to.
mm,
And I remember I talked to Montana State. Was one of the first ones that I talked to. Montana State, and then some D2s like Northwestern Oklahoma. The first few that I really tried to get in front of.
mm,
And Hawaii was another early one that I did. I talked to the OC. I talked to the OC, and I remember I was at Holtville High School at the time for whatever reason when he called me, and now he's the head coach at Washington State now, Nick Rolovich. But yeah, I talked to him. He watched the film. I was shopping yours and Brandon's at the time because I was already helping Brandon. But
mm,
yeah, man, the trajectory of everything, it was such a funny thing because so I talked to these schools first before I really reached back out to you guys, and I remember the first time when we met, like when you and Coach Shaw came over to the house. So I talked to Shaw and I said, man, I can help him out. And he said, okay, we want to come by. We want to come by and meet you. Like, come by and talk. But like you like walked in the door. I remember like that first time, bro, like that hugged right there. And I like it was like from that point on, we went sat on the couch. And I remember all three of us, and it was like we knew each other
yeah, yeah. It was
for
crazy.
years.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was
Mm-hmm,
instantly. And
mm-hmm,
the funny thing was, I think that was Shaw. He was kind of protective of you. And
mm-hmm,
I remember him afterwards when you guys left. When we talked the next time, he's like, yeah. When we left, it was like, oh yeah, hell yeah, yeah. That's
mm-hmm,
let's go.
mm-hmm,
Let's figure this. Like it was instant that we were close.
mm-hmm,
And yeah, it was such a unique way the way it processed, but it is funny, man, when you really think about just the slightest thing in your life can
mm-hmm,
change everything. And
mm-hmm,
so yeah, even to the day, man, I'm grateful obviously for the fact that I didn't get that text back, man. That that lack of communication was the turning point to a lifelong relationship that we've created here, you
mm-hmm.
know. Um, so we meet, we started that process. Where was your mind at once we started actually really talking about like your opportunity to maybe go to school?
Man, I think for me, like I was just enjoying the process. You know what I mean? It was like, ain't nothing I could do. Like I did. Like I made the tape. I bought. I'm like, only thing I was focused on was getting my damn grades up. You know, I'm like, damn, like that's the first thing you told me. Once I gave you my transcript, you was like, yo, we gotta get this up. So that was really my only focus. I had really no experience with the recruiting process. I didn't really know the difference between like Division I to NAIA school. I just wanted to play football. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So my only focus was like getting my grades up, trying to get a better ACT score, and my mindset for football didn't change until I saw the different variety of schools that were coming. I'm like, damn, like I knew I was good, but damn, these schools want me. I'm like, I'm damn good.
Reaffirmed. Yeah,
Yeah.
reaffirmed to
Mm-hmm.
you like what you could do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so for most people wouldn't know this, but when I did meet Cedric, and we looked at the academics, and Cedric was not in a position to go to college at the
Mm-hmm.
large level, at the big level,
Mm-hmm.
D1 and in FCS or FBS, FCS, any of those is I don't know if we decided, I don't know if you were 2.0 or not, but you were pretty close, maybe even sub, right? Didn't have a test score, didn't have the academics on point, didn't have enough classes. Like
Mm-hmm.
there couldn't have been more stacked against, you at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was other than the fact that your film looked like a Division I player, right? But
Mm-hmm.
everything else did not say I'm going Division I. And I remember we met. And it was like that night when we met at my house. It was. I felt like we left there. There was like the game plan had been laid out. We got to make sure we get to these. Okay, we need this many core classes. We got to. Shaw was going to go back to school that next day or whatever, and start looking to see what can we do. How can we make sure he's in all the classes? Okay, Cedric, you got 2 or 3 weeks or whatever, or maybe you got like a month for the end of the semester or something like that, right? And it's like you gotta dial this in now, get the academics. You gotta pass all these classes. There's no more C's. There's no more. You need B's, A's. Like it was a direct plan. We put that thing down there, and you got signed up for the next ACT. And which was probably soon after that when you took the test. But yeah, the whole thing within like a day, it was like game plan was set. Christmas break was coming up. Cedric was going to put his film together. He's going to it was set. Like we had the full plan of how we were going to make the process happen. And I remember you went back for Christmas and you started making your film. You got that thing done during the break. And so December. So you take your ACT. All right. So you already knew how important it was when you took the ACT that day. What were you feeling
when I took it, or when I got the score?
You took it.
I mean, I knew it was. This is it. This is make it or break it. Like if I bomb this thing, that's it. As far as like because when I knew I could go to it, I knew I was going to go to college regardless. But like once I saw I had Division I interest, that's what I wanted because I didn't know it was real. And then like when these schools coming to see me, I'm like, damn, like this is crazy. Like because mind you, I didn't really watch football like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I just played it because I loved it. Yeah. And then I just remember back in those days, like in early 2000 or whatever it was, like we always like Google stuff. Like you ain't had Instagram and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's
true. Yeah.
And I remember like I would Google the schools and the first thing that will pop up, like you go in there, you'll see the tab and you click on football. The first thing that always popped up were the stadiums. And I just remember like seeing like Boise State and then seeing Colorado and I'm like, bro, these people play on TV. Yeah. Like, this is crazy. Like I never imagine that. You know what I'm saying? Like I never imagined that. So then when I saw that like I'm good enough to go, or these people are freaking flying down to this small ass town to come and see me, I can do this. So I knew it was make it or break it. I'm like, all right, this is it. You know what I mean? Like if I bomb this, all that's gone. You know what I mean? Because the next
that window had opened up. You kind of saw the light. You knew there was
for sure. But the thing is, I saw the light, but it was scary because I'm like, this is one shot. Because the thing is, after that test, the next opportunity to take the test is way past signing.
It was going to be like this was February or something like that, or March.
Yeah. So that was it. So for me,
that was it. That was the one. That was the.
That was it. It was literally, bro. Like I woke up that morning. I'm like, damn, bro, this is it. Like if I bomb this damn thing, all of it's gone. It's all gone bye-bye. Yeah. So I vividly remember because it was at Brawley, and I remember like it was some part of the school where like it was like kind of like the classes that are made kind of like out of trailers, and then they had like these like the little squares that you put the trees in. I remember just sitting there like, damn, like this is really it, bro. Like this is it.
It's like a game for you, like a game day. Like that.
The hell no, games was easy. This was different. Like, I'm like, damn, bro, this is a whole other
weren't ready for.
Oh hell no. Yeah.
Did you study for it or do any ACT prep or anything?
I did ACT prep and I studied, but I think from my experience with the ACT, I believe that if you weren't studying and like had a good support system with school and studying, it's really hard to prepare yourself for that test. Not because you're not smart enough, but the anxiety and the preparation going into taking a test like that is something unlike anything I've honestly ever experienced in my life to this day. You know what I'm saying? Even like in college taking
because it holds so much weight.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I mean, it's so much weight.
It's the common denominator. It's the common factor to like, if I will go to school. In college, it's like if I fail the test, like I can take a test you know,
Yeah.
whatever. This was
Yeah,
it. You know what I mean? It was
yeah.
it for me. So yeah,
This is
I did testing and stuff, but I got a cousin who goes to a D2 school out here who didn't do well on the ACT, and he was a smart
Yeah.
kid, had great grades. But taking the test, if you don't take tests and prepare well through
Yeah.
school, that's a different kind of skill set. You know what I mean? Like taking the ACT is different because it's a psychological component to it, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
to know like this is. I remember my cousin Marcus telling me like, man, like I'm so nervous. And mind you, in school when he took tests, he getting A's.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, but
yeah.
it is that
Damn.
standardized test.
Yeah,
It's the standardized, it's the finality, it's the weight that it holds, it's like everything. I mean, even my, like this dude, he obviously couldn't be polar opposites as far as the academics. When I helped him, this guy's like a 4.3 and had like a, he was the academics is so easy for him. As far as the doors that were already there because he already had that. So it's such a, and he went D1, he went FCS and but he wasn't doing what you did on film though either. Like he wasn't like it was
Polar opposites there too.
he can play.
That's what I thought he was gonna say right now.
No,
Roasting me.
No, I wouldn't do that. No, he can play some football. Hey, you went D1 because you had talent. But yeah, it is like the finality of like. I mean, I remember even being myself sitting there taking that test in high school, just knowing like. Like I want to get better. I got to do better on this. I need to like, and not like it just stayed the same. I tested the test a couple times. My score never really changed. And but yeah, like you said, I think some people it's just you're either gonna do well on that test or you're not. And it doesn't. I don't think it really says the true story about your academics. And
no, not at all. Because I really believe that the ACT is like. It's the psychological component to the test that's bigger than anything that's actually on the test. Like when you walk in there, you see how nervous everybody is. But it's like we about to go to court. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's nervous.
Mindset. You got your number 2 pencils right there.
Yeah, bro. Like everybody nervous, bro. Everybody got their shirts tucked in, shoes tied. I'm like, damn, bro. This shit like we gotta go to prison or something.
And if you think of like most like athletes, think about the fact that most of the tests were during the fall. Yeah. It's on a Saturday morning after you just had a Friday night game, bro. Like you got, 4 or 5 hours of sleep and you're going in there like, bro, like, like you're just not, it's just the least ideal situation. But,
and the thing that made it much harder for me, thank you, Coach Shaw, is that when I first took the test, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how serious it was. Nothing. I'm like,
you thought it was one of those STAR tests at the end of the school year.
Yeah, like Shaw. Yeah, right? I went in there like, all right, like I'm about to go in here and just, I don't give a damn what's on here. I'm about to just bubble.
Yeah, you just bubble it in.
Yeah, like, I don't care.
Roll through, roll out.
Yeah, I don't care. Like Shaw's like, yeah, I signed up for the ACT. You got to take this test. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Like, I just rolled up.
No conversation of like. No. Also said. This thing will change your life or not.
No, he didn't say nothing like that, bro. He said, I signed up for the ACT. You got to take it like next Saturday. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Went there. I'm like, everybody nervous. I'm like, bro, what's going on? I get in there. I'm like,
you were done in 20 minutes.
I probably was the first one to feel I'm here today. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. Yeah.
Done. Like,
just
start.
Yeah. Bro, I was out.
No, and that's probably partially why some people don't do well because they don't really understand the gravity of it, how important it really is, and really take it serious, all that stuff, and that's probably the case too for a lot of kids. So you go retake that test, you retake your ACT test, and obviously we had gone through our conversations, man. I was talking to like South Dakota. Remember Wesley Bashorner, the OC from South Dakota, really liked you. But straight up, I need the ACT score. I need the ACT score. So we knew there was things out there. The coolest thing about like going through our process together is as if you watch Cedric's film, you would assume that Cedric his mind was like, oh, I'm going to play D1 because his film said I'm Division 1. But you didn't. You were completely open to whatever opportunity was out there. NAI, D2. You didn't have like a D1 or bust mentality. We never even once talked about going to junior college. It was where can I go to a 4-year school and get something paid for, and that's what the focus was. So that made it easier for me to really want to like push you because it's like, oh, this dude's down for whatever. We'll find something good. We'll do something. So you retake the test. We fully understand the gravity because you had I remember we had met with like UNLV, I said we've talked to a few schools on, people showing interest, but we need that test score.
Mm-hmm.
So I had Ced's ACT login, and because I would wake up like super early all the time, like I still do, and I remember like every morning, like when it was like, because like they would give you the ACT website would show you the dates that it would be available, and there'd be like a 2-day period, right? So like few days, it's gonna be one of these days, and they just release them. I don't know how they do it, right? It's like a lottery or something. And I remember like the first day it was supposed to be available. I remember get on like at 5:30 or whatever, and checking and no score available, and I don't even. It was probably even. I feel like it was like the last day that the score should have been available, and I remember checking that thing, and I'm like, bro, what? Like, so Cedric got a 26 on his ACT, and for those that don't know, a 26 is like, this man's going to the Ivy League now, baby. like we went from, man, are we gonna get this thing even to be a qualifying score? Like we were going like, we got to get an 18.
18, yeah. 18.
18 was the shot right there. We need 18. You get a 2.0 on your GPA, you got an 18. Some doors can open. We can do this, right? We can make this happen. He gets a 26, man. I remember going in. Bro. My wife was getting ready for work. Aaron was getting ready for work. And I went there. I'm like, Cedric got a 26 on his ACT. Oh my God. I think I even took my laptop in there and was like, showing the score. She's like, what does that mean? I'm like, he's going to be a doctor. I was so fired up, man. I was like, and that's what's like the coolest thing with all these like processes for me is like, it's always been like that, bro. Like that success is my success. Like I get to relish in that. I get to like be a part of that, and it's such a fun experience. But yeah, man. Like right when I saw that score, I was like, it's on now. Like now I got some ammo. Now I can go to schools and be like, all right. Academics are on point. I do think Cedric finished his semester strong. I think it bumped the GPA up enough where I didn't feel like I was trying to sell someone who couldn't go to college. I think you're right. Yeah. I think you probably rolled it up to at least over a 2.0 or right around there. And then it was like, all right, and you finished strong your last semester. You get it to a 2.2, 2.3. So like for those, I mean, it's never too late, like, yeah, I mean, it was a lot of work, no doubt about it. But Cedric, he got that ship. He righted the ship, and luckily for people like David Shaw, who really like took the time to get him in the right classes and to research every possible way. How can we make this guy have all of his core classes and do the whole thing? So yeah, so that whole process went through, and we it opened the door. We started talking to bigger, to other schools. It opened the door. We talked to South Dakota, Portland State, UNLV, Colorado, Boise. We talked to San Diego State, U of A,
Army.
Yeah, I mean, there's a solid list of schools that were coming through that were actually showing interest. But mind you, the time, I mean, you got about a month. From the time Cedric got a score, we had about a month of really trying to figure out, can we find a school? Can we get a scholarship? Yeah, man, it popped off for a few. Portland State came through. Cedric, so Portland State, you actually committed there. The kind of what was it like when you got that first offer? First of all, what was it like to get that first offer? What was that like for you?
To be honest with you, it didn't really like hit me like that because there was something off about Portland State that I knew. To be honest with you, when I went to Portland State, I was more committed to go there because the experience that I had with the players and not really the program. It was my first time. It was going to Portland State was the first time I ever got on a plane. Like I never flew anywhere before. So I flew to Portland for the first time, scared as hell to get on the plane. I'm 17. I'm like, dog, I'm going to die. The plane going to crash. And then I get there. I'm in a whole nother like world. It's a whole nother world to me. You know what I mean? It's like I'm going from the Valley. I haven't been in the Valley for 3 years. And I thought of Portland is green. Like it's nice weather. Yeah. They're like taking me to like the Nike headquarters. I'm like going to like these dope ass parties. like I had a good ass time in Portland State. Yeah. Went to some dope ass parties. And then I'm around like like a bunch of like black people again. You know what I'm saying? So it was a whole like it's an experience for me.
Yeah.
But when we actually would go into like the facilities and see the team, like I'll be around the players, and I mean like the problem is like I ain't really feeling this like that.
You
know
were
what I'm
on that
saying?
visit with Vernon Adams, right?
Yeah, I was on that visit with Vernon.
And
And
Vernon,
that was another thing. Like me and Vernon had a really good time. He was from LA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, there was all these like not heartwarming, but like components that didn't relate to the actual team. You know what I mean? Because even like at the time when I went out there, their stadium was a soccer field for the city team. It wasn't the actual stadium for them.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
and now I remember like so I got the offer. I'm like, damn, like that's cool. But mind you, I'm Googling U of A and Colorado, like seeing like these big ass schools. So I'm like, all right, like this is cool. But once they offer me, it was like, okay, I got something. You know what I mean?
So,
I got it.
So you committed to them when they offered you, correct?
I verbally committed when I was out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
and that's the case for a lot of people, man. That's just if you look at the timing of it, man, there was 2 weeks left till signing day. I mean, for anyone, you get an offer like that, it's hard to say no. It's hard to say no when you see that there's a full ride. It's it's big level football, Big Sky. I mean, playing good ball. Like we had talked about Cal Poly and Montana State, all those other ones that they're going to play, and it was a good opportunity. It was what we were hoping for as far as the thing for you, not necessarily them, but the opportunity. Yeah. So you commit to them, but in the meantime, we're still talking to people, right? We're still talking to big schools. We're talking to Colorado. We thought, man, I still remember. Don't you remember sending me a picture? You were wearing a Colorado jersey when your high school coaches had a Colorado.
I didn't want to put it on. It just came.
But you put that thing on. I remember sending it to me and going like gonna be a buff and like but every time through this process and we don't have to go into super detail about it, but every time a school would come through, I mean, it seemed like it was gonna happen. They were interested, man. They were fired up. For as fired up as we were about the opportunity. So yeah, it was it seemed like it was all gonna pop off and it's the way the recruiting process works. It doesn't, a lot of things are there. They're almost there. And then they go away because they get another kid commits or right. But we'll fast forward. So Cedric was committed and the night before signing day. So he's ready to go. About 10 plus PM the night before signing day, I get a call from a number I don't know. And I think it was a Minnesota number. Pretty sure it was. And
or probably the Illinois number.
It might have been.
Because they were in Northern Illinois.
It might have been. So I get a call and I wasn't gonna answer, but then I'm like, oh no, it might be a school. Like it probably be a school. So and I think I had been on the phone with U of A earlier that night, and so they call, and it's Jay Salvell, University of Minnesota DB coach, and he's like, hey, I saw Cedric's film. This guy can play. We're new here. We're just going through trying to recruit this class. I lost a DB commit. What's he got going on? I'm like, well, he's committed to Portland State. He's like, is he going to sign there tomorrow? I'm like, I mean, yeah, probably so. He said, he's like, well, talk to him. Let him know, like, we're really interested. I need to show this to Jerry Kill in the morning. Let me show him the film, and then let me call you. If you can hold off on signing till then, like, cool, So I remember I got on the phone with them, and I was probably like fighting the air. I was like pumped up, bro. I was like, let's go, like this thing. And I remember I called Cedric and I called Shaw, and I told him what happened. And I'm like, man. And I remember Shaw asked, like, what do you think? I'm like, dude, this is Big Ten, man. Like this could change his life. Like this could be huge. I'm like, I'm like, dude, I'm not tripping, man. I think this is gonna happen. Like, let's just wait. Like, if he's down to wait, let's wait. Let's just see what happens.
Dude, I vividly remember waking up the next day and like Coach Zalegi from Portland State is like pressuring me. Like he's like, hey, he called me. He woke me up out of my sleep at like 6
rightfully
in the morning.
so. Rightfully so.
Yeah.
You're a dog. They needed dogs.
Yeah, yeah.
No hate on anyone for trying to get a kid to
Oh
sign.
no, for sure. They wanted me there because they knew they had like a steal essentially. You know what I mean?
They had a major Division I player that was overlooked.
Mhm. Yeah, so he called me. It's woke me up out of my sleep. I'm sleeping on Shaw's couch, dog. Like, hey, you up? I'm like, shit, I'm up now. Like, what's up?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you remember, like, we need them papers.
We need that letter of intent.
We
get
need
that
them
letter of
papers, like,
intent.
at 9:00 on the dot. I was like, right away. He's like, yeah, we need it right away. And like at this point, he ain't all like friendly coach. Like he dead ass serious. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, he was P
So then
press.
I'm like, that's weird. You know what I'm saying? So then I'm like,
yeah.
then I'm thinking about like you called me last night. I'm like, this whole Minnesota thing. I got my mama calling me.
Well, he hit me up that morning too, and he said, "Hey, we need to get that letter of intent sent in. Like, hey, you need to get to tell Cedric." I mean, it was early that morning.
Yeah,
I probably was ghosting it, man. I was like,
no, because I was still trying to sign. Y'all kept stopping.
Yeah,
me.
you were in.
Yeah, I was ready to sign. Yeah, I was ready to sign because I was getting scared.
That night you weren't. That night you were like, okay, I'm like, and then I think when he pressured that morning of the feeling of it, I think you were like, I'm just gonna sign. And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, hey, I think I remember saying like, just like, hey, let's wait. Let me see what they say when they call. So I was driving to work, and then that's when Kill and Salvel called me again and said, like, man, we love the kid's film. We want to get him on a visit this weekend. If he passes the eyeball test when he gets off that plane, he's got an offer from us. And I'm like, all right, so this is, you got, a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush, right? The saying. And it's like, I know in your mind is like, well, this is here. That may not happen. Right. And then I think on signing day, is that when you got offered by NAU as well? On signing day? Yes.
Yeah, that same day. Because then I had another option. Yeah,
because
we were like, because this is what you would say. I said, let me tell the part I remember. So I remember we in school and like I ain't in class all damn day. I'm in Shaw's office the whole damn day, and I remember like. I was so damn scared. I'm like, man, I just want to sign. Like, y'all keep telling me what to do. Let me just sign the damn papers. And then Shaw pulled up Minnesota on the computer. He just said, look at this shit. Look at he's like, look at the locker room. Look at the damn locker room. He's like, there's a big ass M in the locker room. I'm like, I don't give a damn. Like, I made my decision. I just want to sign because I'm scared as hell. Like, damn, they're gonna take the scholarship away from me. And then NAU offers me. You're like, look, now you got another option. You know what I'm saying? Now,
NAU knew the situation.
Yeah, NAU was willing to wait. They were willing to wait.
NAU said they would wait till after your OV to Minnesota. And if you didn't get offered there and everything, then you had a spot at NAU. And I was like, I remember telling you, I'm like, Jill, bro, like you can go to NAU. And you're like, what if I don't want to go to NAU? I'm like, you don't even know what that's about either. Like, I remember, I mean, and you were scared. It was like rightfully so. Like you didn't know what to expect, man. It was the fear of the unknown. You know, what if you don't get offered, and then what if you don't like NAU? Then you're stuck. I mean, I remember that conversation. I said it was a long day.
That was a long ass day, bro.
There was all kinds of stuff, man. Portland State was saying all kinds of wild stuff to us, and
and then all the coaches was calling me, bro. Like the DB coach, running back coach, the
O-line coach. That's the one it first started recruiting. That guy called me probably 6 times that morning.
Yes, bro. It was so stressful, dog.
I was like,
that sounds terrible, man.
It was stressful, dog. I'm like, bro. And then I got my mama calling me like, CJ, they gonna take. I'm like, damn, my mama got me scared now. So I'm gonna just sign the damn papers, bro.
Dude, like I'm getting in trouble by that, like my mom, like Cedric's mom was mad at me, like and Shaw, because they're telling her that we're stopping him from signing. Like, and
y'all was stopping me, bro. I was trying to sign the damn paper. Y'all kept telling me no.
I was trying to change your life, okay?
No, rightfully so, bro. Rightfully so.
Hey, so that, I mean, it really, man, it was the long stay. But then finally, I want to say it's probably like early afternoon, 2 or 3, and finally Cedric was like, all right, like I'm cool, like we'll see what happens.
Because at that point, we passed the time. Like we passed the time, like to sign. Because I remember Coach Leggy was like, "We need them papers at 9 o'clock on the dot." You know what I'm saying? So
you're telling me that LOI didn't roll in at 4:30 in the afternoon. They would have still.
He was lying. Yeah, he was lying, bro.
But
and what were you guys telling them? Like,
bro,
I stopped answering the phone. I was stressed the hell out.
I'll be honest, bro. I probably ghosted it, bro. Like because like I don't remember that morning.
That's crazy.
I I mean, I don't remember ever answering the call that
Hell
morning.
no, bro. I stayed off my phone after that. Like,
Because
I remember when he called me in the morning, I was like, bro, what the hell? Like, he like pressing me. Like, he like really, like, he wasn't being like the nice, friendly coach. He was like, when the paper's in, 9:00. You hear me now? I'm like, what? Like, I didn't even know you could talk like that. And because he was a Samoan dude, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
big
so I'm
D
like, bro,
line,
what the hell?
not heavy, but like a tall 6'4".
No, he was a tall, like swole
Yeah.
dude. Yeah,
played
tall, swole
college
dude.
ball, bro. Like,
kind of intimidating.
yeah,
Yeah,
and kind
I'm
of
like, bro,
funny
what the
because
hell?
it's kind of funny because his name kind of hung around for a few years. 'Cause a few years later, I remember talking.
He dipped.
Well, yeah, he didn't even, he wasn't even there. He didn't coach at that school the next season.
That year, yeah.
He left right after.
Everything works out, man.
Yeah, I think he went to Hawaii.
Yeah,
actually.
for sure.
And
Mhm.
so you hold off and then we get all the information from Minnesota. They come down here, send a car down here on Friday morning to pick you up, drive you to San Diego. I think you flew out of there.
Bro. Damn,
Send
I
a car
forgot
down.
about that. Damn.
Send a car down. This guy didn't have any cold weather material, so I gave this dude a gray jacket, like a heavy kind of peacoat type of jacket, like that he took with him to wear. It was snowing in Minneapolis when he got there. But yeah, so their thing was, bro, if this guy walks off, we see him. He walks off that plane. We see him, and he fits what you said. It's done deal. The funny shit is that I remember them telling me some younger black kid came off the plane.
Oh yeah.
And it was like a dude like with like glasses, scrawny, short, like
it's like Steve Urkel or something.
And I remember them going like, oh no. And then it wasn't you. And then like shortly after that, Cedric rolled off and I remember Brock Farine was your host, right?
He's my host, yeah.
And because Brock had played with Cedric at
Valencia.
Yeah, so they played together, so they knew each other, which small world because at the time, and they're California kids on Minnesota's roster. It was a very rare thing. So Brock being on that team was unique, and then Brock playing high school ball with Cedric's brother, even more like a very random connection. Yeah, so you get there, you roll off. All right, what's your next stop? Because you're coming from here. And you're going out.
I remember getting off the plane. I'm like, damn, it's snow. I ain't never seen snow in my life. I'm like, damn it, it's hella snow out here. And the first thing they did, they hooked my ass. They took me to the Mall of America.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh shit, this is a city. This is like LA. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn. So then I go to the mall. We go to this fancy ass restaurant. I'm like, oh, I bet. So then we leave the restaurant, and then now I'm talking with Brock. Like they like, and then they give you money like per diem
stipend. Yeah.
So I like go get a Minnesota hat and like get my name to this. So I'm like, yo, this is
right.
bad. Like I'm so glad that I waited. So then we drive back, and then we drive from the mall, and I'm seeing the campus for the first time. I'm like, oh shit, this is crazy. Like I'm like, bro, this like the shit you see in the movies. Like this is crazy. So then like Brock, sure enough, took me to a damn frat party. I'm like, yo, this shit is wild, bro. This shit is wild. And then the next day we go to the stadium, and I'm like in the locker room. I'm like, dude, never in my life did I ever think I would be doing something like this. Ever. Like ever. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, do you remember that when you went to the stadium, didn't they have your name up on the Jumbotron?
Yes, and mind you, on this trip, I'm the only person.
Dude.
I'm the only recruit.
You go from
I'm
the
by
soccer
myself.
stadium to this.
Yes, bro. I'm like all by myself. Like there's nobody else because after signing day.
So think about this,
you
bro.
got the
They
treatment,
got one scholarship. They're bringing this dude out there, and it's the
You got
whole
the Minnesota
staff.
girls and
Yeah, bro. It's all me, bro. So like and mind you, like with Portland State, it was like fucking 12 of us or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So
the whole group,
everybody's paying attention to me. My name's on the damn screen. I go in the locker room. They got my jersey up. I'm talking to every coach. You know what I'm saying? So like it was crazy. And on top of that, I felt the love from the coaches. But I'm walking around the campus and I'm seeing the football field. And then like I'm going to like I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how is this happening to me? Like, how is this happening to me? You know what I'm saying? And I just remember. Oh, my wife's gonna listen to this. So I just remember. I remember waking up the next day, not in my own damn place. I remember waking up and I remember looking out the window and getting up, and then I had to wake Brock up, and I'm walking back, and this is the daytime, and I'm looking at the damn campus. I'm like, what the fuck is happening to my life? Like, this is crazy. And then I remember the next day they took us to this place called Tony's Diner, and we're sitting with all the coaches, and I see Coach Kill walk up with a yellow envelope, bro. And he comes and sits on my thing. He said, "We want you to come here." And I just remember it was nothing compared to Portland State. It was literally, dog, like one of the best days of my entire life. Because I'd never been somebody like, oh, like I work hard and like it's gonna pay off. I've never been like that. I just worked hard and like did it for my team and whatever. But it was something about seeing that yellow envelope. I'm like, damn, like this shit really happened, bro. Like, I just remember being on the plane flying back, like, damn, like I just couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? Like it makes me like get inside right now,
bro.
Huh?
I didn't even get a thank you card for that.
That's the hell you did, bro. Stop playing with me, dog.
Hey,
don't sit here and play me, bro.
But I remember that, man, and I remember you calling and going, like, I got it's done. Like I committed. It's a done deal. I remember Salvel calling me, and I remember like being like it all worked out. It worked out it worked out exactly how.
Yeah. And that's what you and Shaw will always remind me of, bro. You and Shaw, because I will always be like, I didn't get stressed out until I got close to signing day, like with that Coach Leggy stuff. And like you and Shaw always told me, like, Cedric, you will be exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's where that's where it comes back to like y'all whole, like the whole podcast, like small town success. Like no matter like where you're at or where you're from, small town, big city, whatever, if you really trust the moment, understand where you're at, and like take the opportunities when they come and seize the moment, dog. Like my life, like swear to God, dog, like to say that like all this was a coincidence would be crazy, right? Like you literally getting rejected for go to that damn Bill game has completely changed my life. Now, granted, I had to do I had to do the work, like get the grades, do the test. You know what I mean? But like just that one damn thing, right? Like it's like
it's a series of events, but it's the way it starts, and then you know it's the whole thing, right? Because along the way you could have fallen off and didn't fulfill the destiny that probably been that was laid out for you, right? But I said we both know the whole story. There's a lot of things along the way that wasn't perfect, but right, there was always choices that you made, and you see the results of those choices down the line. But I mean, the way it worked out, so you go, you don't sign, you end up going out there, and so you sign it. I mean, obviously the reality was it was like the dream came true at the time. And so you sign there. You pretty much just kind of now at that point finishing high school, preparing.
I got to Minnesota late too. Remember, I graduated late. They already had started. All the freshmen were out there.
You left like a few days after you graduated. But you started stressing, remember? So you started like, it was like a mental thing of the fact that you were really leaving, you were really going.
Yeah, because I never had been anywhere. You know what I mean? It's like I was like, damn, like I'm really about to go out here. You know what I mean? So like the real stress and like the fear of the unknown really hit me. Like I was still super happy, but I'm like, damn, like I'm about to. And mind you, dog, this is Minnesota. I ain't never even heard of Minnesota till they called. Never heard of the damn state. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, damn, I'm really about to go out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
So crazy. So I mean, and this was about May, and I remember it was the middle of the night. It's probably like 2 a.m. I remember I got a call. It was Cedric's number, and I didn't answer the first call. And Erin told me, my wife, she's like, "What if you call again?" She's like, "What if something's wrong?" I'm like, I thought this fool was just like accidentally calling me. I'm like, I answer it. You're like, dude, my heart's pounding. Like I don't know.
I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe.
Yeah, like my chest hurts. My chest hurts, and I'm like. The first question was like, "Where's Shaw?"
Yeah.
The first thing I asked. That's a whole other story. But I remember I was like, all right, dude, I'll be there. I live in Imperial, so it's like a 15-minute drive for me to get to Brawley. I picked Cedric up. took him to the
Yeah,
hospital.
and then when he comes in, I'm like on the floor because the thing is, I fell asleep and I was fine. The anxiety attack woke me up. Like I woke up and I was like, I couldn't breathe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember you walking in and took me to the damn
Took to
hospital
the
and
ER,
like
man.
yeah.
Like,
Wow, bro.
bro, I was like
Yeah,
a
and they told me.
20. I was 25 years old, bro. I don't even
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
I'm doing, man. I'm
Mhm.
taking someone to the hospital. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh man, his
Mhm,
chest hurting. Like, whatever, man. We got in there
mhm,
and it got all figured out. But yeah, I mean, and then that's the reality for a lot of people. I think leaving a comfort zone and leaving something that's
mhm,
that's known to them to go to such a. I mean, you've been out to Minneapolis for 2 days in your life and
mhm,
you made a decision within a day or whatever, right? To say I'm going there, and then
mhm.
so you really didn't know the area. I mean, it was a jump, man. If think about
Yeah, I
anyone
didn't know
leaving,
anything. I didn't know anything, and it
leaving,
was crazy because like before you go, you have to like pick. Are you gonna live in the dorms or the apartments? What does like the money look like? This is what you're getting paid for. This is the classes. So I'm like, damn, like I'm
a lot
really
of
about to
things.
leave. You know what I mean? Because I
Yeah,
remember vividly saying like I got to choose whether I want to stay in the university village apartments or the dorm. And I had
yeah,
to choose, okay, do I want the dorm like college experience? And I thank God that I did that. Or I had to do the apartment living and they gave you actual money there. So I
yeah,
was actually making like adult decisions by myself. Like I wasn't like I didn't have my mom or my dad or even Shaw. Like it was like, I want
yeah,
to do
yeah,
this. You know what I'm saying? It
yeah,
was the first time I actually made those kind of decisions. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's true. It's true. And like I said, you're 17. Were you 17? You were
I was
17.
17. I
You
was
weren't
17.
18 yet. So you were
Mhm.
you were 17 making those decisions when you had never really made an adult decision in your life,
Mhm.
really,
Mhm.
without someone helping you
Yeah. Mhm.
understand the consequences of possibly, right?
Mhm.
So you go out, you right after you graduated. I remember going to your graduation. I think you and Sean went to dinner one night before you graduated or before you left at Chili's,
Mhm.
and then
Good old Chili's, dog.
and then gotta get that sponsor right there. Man, so we rolled the Chili's and and then I want to say like the next day or something like that, you rolled out. Um and uh and the ironic thing was so Cedric gets out there and um all the hurdles had not been passed yet. Uh the ACT flagged Cedric's information when he got there, because he got Cedric's test score jumped so high from his first one to his second one. The NCAA flagged his
Mhm.
ACT score, and man, I started stressing. I was
Wow.
like,
You didn't even tell me.
bro,
No, you didn't tell me. You
what
didn't
that
tell
they
me I got
flagged?
flagged.
But well,
No, nobody told me. My coach Savell told me like months later.
no. If you don't, I think what you had, no, that's what happened. If I'm not mistaken, you had to send in a writing sample to prove that your writing sample matched the writing from the ACT.
Dog, I kind of remember that.
That sounds
Yeah,
terrible.
I'm pretty positive that's what happened. You had to send in a writing sample. Bro, I was stressed out because I'm like, bro, this whole thing's crashing down because I didn't know what to expect. Yeah. And
Mhm.
that's what happened, pretty sure. So you had to send in a writing sample. And that was it. I mean, it went away. Everything went away. The writing sample matched the ACT, and so man, I remember being so stressed out when that because it was like probably like it was before camp started, but it was after you were there,
Yeah, I was there
and
for a minute. I was there for, and you know what's
yeah,
crazy? There was another receiver from Texas who got flagged as well,
yeah,
and then
and
he got
and he
flagged.
did
They
get
made him retake the test. He
and he
failed
didn't
it and
get
they
it.
kicked him out.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
right.
And he
That's
was like
right.
my best friend as like all the freshmen. Like we were the
Yeah,
closest, and like they kicked him out.
yeah.
Mhm,
So that was a crazy situation.
mhm,
And so you passed all the hurdles of getting in, right? We got all lined up and you start out your first year, that first camp. Uh I remember in that camp, you were gonna play safety, you went there as a DB,
mhm,
but they knew you could do something with the ball. I remember
mhm.
Salvel or no Kill coming up to you and go like, what you think about playing running back?
Mhm.
We're gonna put you back, like you return punts." And I was like, "Man, I was
Mhm.
fired up," and I'm like,
Mhm.
like, okay, like.
Mhm.
I remember you're returning punts in camp, and the funny
Yeah.
thing is really in your career you never ended up doing that. Like
Mhm.
you
I
never
didn't want to
played.
do it.
You were. I remember like you were like you would return kicks in pregame and stuff, but
Yeah,
you
yeah.
never
Mhm.
you never did it. Um,
Mhm.
so so talk about your early experience there in Minnesota. So you're there and in that early development and all that.
Ask me a question.
Yeah, just talk about that early experience there for
Oh
you.
yeah, I mean, I think for me, obviously, like it took me a while to adapt because, like, mind you, dog, like 300 kids at Calipad to 60,000, right?
Yeah,
Like insane. Like
yeah,
the entire city is the school,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then I have to balance like football and school, and then like females and like all that stuff. So it was
yeah.
way different. You know what I'm saying? Like it was way different. So when I went there, I was obviously having fun. I was a true freshman. Um, the coaches really needed me to play, really wanted me to play. First game was against USC. I got to travel and suit up, get
That's
back
right,
home.
man. Yeah,
Yeah,
your
first game
first
was
game, you got to
USC.
come
Yeah,
back home. You
yeah.
Wow.
so you
Mhm.
weren't playing really, but you were
No,
traveling.
no, I wasn't playing, but I traveled because they knew eventually they were going to play me, and I wasn't ready. I
Yeah,
played offense all my life. I don't know what the hell
yeah,
cover two is. You know what I'm saying? Coach
yeah.
Shaw ain't teaching defense. You know what I'm saying? Like he ain't teaching
we
no
clown,
damn
and
defense.
we clown him all the time about the fact that
No.
the reality is you move to college, you know how it is. You get to
Yeah.
college, it's a
Mhm.
whole different world, man. It's like
Yeah.
terminology, like everything is it's a
Yeah.
new world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
So
go.
so
I
you're so
go.
you're trying to play safety and you're traveling to USC for your first game and your
Yeah. Yeah.
family actually gets to roll the game,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no, it was awesome. And then after that, like after the summer, that's when all the fun was. And then the season starts, and then I'm just going to school and doing football. That's all I'm doing. And I remember it got to like the 6-7 game, and like Saber was like, "Yo, we need to play you." I'm like, "All right," and he's like, "Well, we have Cedric rules." I'm like, and he told everybody, he said, "Look, Cedric is in the middle of the field, or he's down as the damn curl flat player. That's it." Because I didn't know defense, but I was athletic.
Yeah.
Like I was the best. I was one of the most athletic players on the team. That's what everybody recruited me for. And that first game, I led the team in tackles.
Hold on, let's take it back for a second, real quick,
Mhm,
because before that happened, and so these are cool little stories.
mhm.
So I think a lot of people will remember Denard Robinson from Michigan.
Oh
Right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. Denard was a baller. Like dude, one of the most electrifying college players that we've ever
Yeah, by
that we've
far,
seen.
by
Guy's
far, yeah.
amazing. Right. So they're playing Michigan. Cedric's they put Cedric at scout team quarterback. This was before he's played. They're playing Michigan. And I remember like this full time, I've been murdering these guys. Like Cedric was killing them, like killing the starting defense as
Mhm,
Denard Robinson.
mhm,
And they get smoked by Michigan that week.
mhm.
So what he did
50
practice,
like 58-0, like third quarter, like absolutely destroyed.
so I get a call after the game from Coach Savell, and he's all, "We need Cedric to play." He's like, he's like, we're not athletic enough back there. Like I think he probably said like I don't know if he's ready to play, but we need him to play. So he's like next week he's getting on that field, and that was that Nebraska?
Purdue.
Purdue was your first game?
Purdue, yeah.
Okay, so Purdue, what 7 tackles or something like that in that
Yeah.
game? Like, and the funny thing, bro, like you go back to Cedric's high school stuff. I'm telling you, man, he was not making tackles. Like, and to go and then lead them in tackles and
Is this freshman year?
Freshman year.
Wow, bro.
like, like I mean, physically not ready to play.
I'm playing in the Big Ten, bro. I was freaking
Big Ten
190
ball, man.
pounds. Yeah.
Big Ten ball is sitting there, run the ball at your face. And unfortunately, Cedric was posterized at one point in his early career by
bro.
James
After that,
White.
I was like, bro, I need to gain weight. That can never happen to me again.
Was it James White?
Hell no, it was Monty Ball.
Monte Ball, yeah. I mean, that was a sophomore year, but just got ran right over the middle of him. And
terrible.
And so early in Cedric's career, like, yeah, I mean, he gets time his freshman year. I mean, you play in 4 or 5 games
Yeah, I played in the last however many games there were. Like I played in all
Yeah.
those games. I
Yo,
played
we
against
got
Russell Wilson when he was at Wisconsin.
That's right.
Oh
That's
yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, yeah, you so that's your so your freshman year. I mean, it's solid. It's more than I think any of us really thought was going to happen that year, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Truthfully, right? So your sophomore season, so you're kind of developing you got your personal life in Minnesota developing, you're growing up and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Football becomes even more of who you are as you start growing up
Yeah,
out
now
there.
I'm really invested in like, yo, football is like it's never really been my life per se, but like when I got to college, I'm like, yo, this is like I really do want to do this for real. Not thinking about NFL, but I'm like, I really want to commit myself to like my nutrition, my working out, my time, my sleep,
Yeah.
everything. I really committed to it because I just realized the opportunity that I had. You know what I mean? I didn't want to waste it. And
Yeah.
that's why ultimately like, I went from being a true freshman because I had to play to my sophomore year trying to get the defense, and I was a true freshman. I was a starter my sophomore year.
Yeah. So you
Mhm.
your first game your sophomore year was at UNLV.
Mhm.
And you started that game.
Mhm.
Luckily throughout Cedric's career, man, I was able to go to at least one game per year,
Mhm.
sometimes two. And
Mhm.
luckily for that one, yeah, we got to drive over there. And man, I give my wife credit, man. She went to she stuck through some interesting times to deal with us
She
and
was
going to
pregnant, bro. You made me feel bad. She was out there in that
but
cold
the first
freezing,
game your
dog.
freshman year, we went to the Illinois game,
Mhm.
freezing windy.
Mhm.
So I surprised Cedric that first game.
And
Um,
mind you, I probably never even seen Erin like that. Like when we were around, I never really saw her ever.
yeah, I mean, we didn't spend that much time
No.
personally together. So yeah, so so we were your freshman year, the last game we play Illinois. And Salvel hooked it up. We got tickets, whatever. He got me off the field before the game. I did not tell Cedric I was going to the game.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I'm standing on the sideline, and
Mm.
this dude's in the kickoff return line. And I remember I yelled at him like, Cedric, and he looks over and he's like, what the
What the hell you
hell?
doing?
Like, bro, like it was a
That's
very,
sick.
very cool experience, man. Like, so we chopped it up for just a little bit. And then after the game, I remember they let us go back down there and we got to talk and all that.
Mm.
But yeah, so your sophomore year, we go out there, so your first game was against UNLV. And I don't remember. Yeah, you had a decent game. It wasn't
No, I
anything
played
crazy.
well. I dropped the pick.
Yeah, you dropped the pick. You did drop a pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Derek had a pick probably, right? In that game.
Derek
So
had two
Derek,
picks.
so Derek Wells was the other safety with Cedric. Kind of they came up together, same class, and kind
Mm,
of like
mm.
they developed together. And Derek, to be honest with you, that year, Derek was probably the better
He was
the
the guy.
Derek was a dog
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
time,
Derek.
bro.
I tell people to this day, Derek is by far the best football player I've ever played with, hands down.
Bro, he was a dog. He was a
Yeah.
dog.
He
Super
was like one of those
talented.
players, like he was special, bro. He really was.
Yeah.
Like he just
Yeah,
looked
like
the part, had the part, everything.
oh, yeah, the long hair, the tats,
Mhm.
just
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
about Derek Wells screamed like I'm an NFL player.
yeah.
And he was a dog, man. Come up and smack people. He could
Mhm.
pick, but Cedric was he was finding his own thing. He was finding his
Mhm.
way Derek was just more ready, I think, for at the time.
Mhm.
Was he a pretty good mentor? Like, did he teach
The
you a
same
lot?
grade,
No,
man.
we were the
Same.
same grade. So like it was interesting for me because like Derek was somebody who like I kind of looked up to him because we started together. He knew a lot. He played defense all his life. He was from Florida. So like that's like the football freaking, you know what I mean? Like so he
Yeah.
knew defense. So he taught me stuff, but I built a relationship with him because he never judged me. He helped me because we were the two when we both were true freshmen together. We were like
Yeah.
when we kick off our freshman year, I was the 5 and he was the 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we
You
kind of
bonded
grew up
together,
together.
and
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah. So like, yeah, that was great. Like, yeah, it
He
was
went
like
to the league too.
No,
no, a little
no.
bit. Like he did a couple of preseason games, but Derek's problem was he had a bunch of injuries in college, dude. Like a
Yeah.
bunch of injuries.
Yeah, like I
Mm,
mean, like his career were like phew, like this, and then it kind of just plateaued
yeah.
as far as
Mhm,
he was hurt, and then they had really, I mean, you guys had a lot of good DBs. You guys were
mhm,
rotating guys. You had Antonio Johnson, and you had Damaris Travis, and you had guys, man. They
mhm,
did a great job recruiting DBs there.
mhm,
You know, yeah. So that year, your sophomore year, you have a solid year. Minnesota's continuing to get better. You guys make a jump from that your freshman year to your sophomore year. You had, I don't remember how many tackles, but you had 30, 40 tackles that season, maybe 50
Yeah,
tackles
probably.
that season, 50
Probably.
tackles.
Mm.
You had a decent year. And then you guys go to a bowl game that year, right?
Yeah, we lost.
Texas Tech?
Yep.
Texas Tech. Yeah. Yeah. But and at that time, I mean, Cedric wasn't really feeling, he wasn't loving it either at Minnesota. It was a weird situation for as much as you were playing. Like it just was such a weird thing.
I didn't like my coach.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Cedric and his coach were not the best of friends.
Not at all.
He's a phenomenal coach, but personality wise, they just did not get along.
Not at all.
Didn't get along. You which was always the battle. It was always the battle. It was always the battle of keeping Cedric's head of like, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. He can coach you up. He can get you prepared. And he could. Cedric definitely had to do the job of like blocking out the personal side of it.
Yeah.
But and for a lot of people that don't understand, man, obviously you made it through there. You went to the league and everything, but I mean, there was a couple times where
almost dipped,
leaving. Contemplated transferring. Talked about transferring. Fully talked about transferring. And it wasn't because like you weren't playing well or anything. It's just because you had these times of not being happy about how it is there.
Yeah.
When did you and Charlotte meet?
My freshman year.
Freshman year. Did you guys start dating your freshman year?
Yeah, freshman year.
So, which Charlotte is, Cedric's wife now, and they have 2 great kids, and built this great life, which is so it's interesting to see, this relationship. So you guys started then, and then your sophomore year, that's kind of where you guys really got started getting more serious and stuff like that, right? So going through your sophomore year, and I remember after your sophomore year, that's kind of where I feel like that's where you really got serious about it.
Because once I realized like the position that I was in, and then like Brock was leaving, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, like I went to Coach Kill, say I want to be the captain, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I went from 190 to like 212, 215, gained a bunch of weight. Savell was happy because I gained all that weight, and my confidence was through the roof. It was through the roof. But then I got the size and the speed and whatever, but I still had that thing with Savell. Like that year, I was just like unhappy a lot because I just didn't like him. You know what I mean? Like he was a great coach, but just his personality just wasn't for me. Because that year I wanted to transfer. I remember I was like, bro, I want to get up out of here.
I was in Japan. I was in Japan. I want to say it was like on a week. Yeah, it was on a weekend for me. And I remember you hitting me up and just not feeling it, man. And I remember I started texting some coaches, like, just being like, hey, my boy starts in Minnesota. He plays him. He's been a player the whole time. I remember started hitting people up because it's like, all right, well, let's get out then. Let's go somewhere else. And we actually talked about it. But obviously, it never came to fruition. Nothing ever actually came of it. So yeah, I remember that off season before your junior year, before you got into there. Yeah, you were on like a nutrition plan, and you would kind of like try to figure out how to really make yourself better.
Yeah.
So yeah, you go into that season, like you said, you asked for the leadership roles. And the funny thing, you think about this kid from that barely ended up at Minnesota, last minute ends up Minnesota, ends up playing as a true freshman, starts as a sophomore, becomes one of the top players, in the as a DB in the Big Ten. People knew who you were in the Big Ten.
I think I led the team in tackles my junior year, and I was like second or third for tackles in like the Big Ten.
Yeah, I remember being so salty that you did not get all Big Ten your junior year. All the stats, and that's where I started realizing that this is not just about what you do; it's about who you're playing for. Because remember, there's a bunch of Michigan State guys that got all like guys that had average stats compared to you that were getting all Big Ten, and I don't even know, were you honorable mention? I don't even know if you were that.
I don't think I got anything.
And you had, 79 tackles, something like that. You had like a few pigs or a couple pigs, fumble recoveries, forced fumbles.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, made big plays, right? And I remember really disappointed about that. Like, I mean, did that bother you at all?
No, I didn't really pay attention to any of that because like I didn't really know about awards and stuff. I was just trying to do my thing. I think
Yeah.
my one of my biggest blessings was like I don't really know a lot about this stuff. Like mind you, I just found out about D1 college during my recruiting
A
process.
few years before that,
I didn't know about like social media and stuff until after the UNLV game. We got on the phone and Derek was on the phone with his family. He told me to search his name on Twitter, and I was like, "Oh damn! Like this is like people search you? Like what the hell? I didn't know
Yeah.
that." So like I'm learning as I go. So this whole Big Ten honorable whatever, like I was like, I don't even know what that is. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
So what so going into that last year, right? Like going into that time, what was on your mind? Like what did you think was the future for you?
I didn't really think the NFL was anything until my junior year. After your junior year, you have to take like the test, like the what is it called? The
Well,
starts with an S.
remember your after your junior year, I we talked after your junior season and I told you to submit your name for an evaluation from the NFL.
Yeah, but I remember that. But before that, I had to take that test. The test that all the players got to take. It's like it tests
Oh,
like your
Wonderlic. The Wonderlic test?
Wonderlic. I
Okay.
took the Wonderlic test, and it was the first time like coaches from the NFL came in. I was like, "What the hell? Like this is crazy." You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, yeah.
these they really in here. And
Yeah.
I took the Wonderlic test, and I think I scored the highest out of everybody.
No, really.
I was like, well, that's cool. You know what I mean? Maybe this
Yeah.
is something. And then I just kind of like left it at that. And then I never thought about the league. I really cared about my team. I really did. I just wanted to win the Big Ten championship or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until and then after my bowl game, my junior year, agents, I got a bunch of emails. I'm like, oh, and then I started reminding me of like high school. Oh shit, like, I'm actually this good.
Yeah.
Like people are watching me.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
that's right. Okay, so
Mhm.
Cedric's bowl game. Uh for those like Syracuse? Is it against
Yeah, we
Syracuse?
lost.
No, but that game, right? The Syracuse game, your bowl game. Cedric went off
Mhm.
in that bowl game, right? Like went off. Like I mean, this dude was that. I mean, I remember you were the talk of the bowl game as far as
Oh yeah, I snapped. I was
yeah,
smacking the hell out
had
of
a big
everybody.
game, probably had like 8 tackles, a dope TFL. I don't even know, maybe it wasn't a sack, but like he had a great game. It was a
Mhm,
phenomenal game, and it was like
mhm.
and I kind of understood the process and of going to the league, and I'm like, all right, that is a perfect, you know, top, cherry on top to this season for you. Just
Mm,
finished strong. And it got that door open. A few agents contacted.
mm,
Kind of just the normal process for them. But it kind of I think that fires it up a little bit. It makes it
yeah.
real.
And mind you, this is like because legally they can't contact you after this. I'm saying when I got in the locker room, I had email notifications from that same day. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh damn, like this is real. This is agents. What the hell is this all
Yeah.
about? I didn't even know what an agent. I didn't even know what an agent was at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. So you start feeling like obviously it's opening the door a little bit. It's showing the
mm,
light. It's showing the door to the NFL. It's showing that there might be something. And like you said, you had Brock went to the league. You saw guys around you go into the league.
mm,
So it was a reality. I mean, Brock had a good career at Minnesota, and
mm,
you know, so your junior year you ball out, and then going into your senior year, um, you know, obviously you kept developing and stuff like that, and um, about March or so, you find out your junior year you had a few ankle injuries, right? You missed a game.
I sprained my ankle really bad against Penn State.
And so you missed like a game against Penn State, or you missed a few games, or you tried to play
No,
against
no,
one.
no. It was no. We had a bye week after Penn State, so I got lucky and I kept playing. But I
You
was
got
playing
hurt
hurt
in
the
the
whole
Penn
time.
State game. You came out, didn't play, and then you had a bye, and then
Mm.
uh, but then you played. You finished the season on the ankles. But what you I don't remember like what made you go to the doctor about your ankles? What made you get
So
checked?
when we went to spring ball, I kept getting my ankle tape, but the pain wasn't going away. Like it was like
Yeah.
I'm like something's wrong. Like my pain isn't going away. I can still play, but I want to freaking not have any pain. So I was like, hey, I want to get my ankle checked, and then they said, okay, after spring ball we can get it checked. So I went to go get it checked like the day after, and then they checked my ankles, and I'm thinking I'm just going to get them checked. They checked both of my ankles. They're like, "Look, you need surgery like now." I was like, "All right, let's do it."
So this is like March or April, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the conversation was, we don't know if you need surgery on both of them,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we had this full conversation because it was like, okay, you can get the surgery now. Recovery time is going to be essentially it would have put you right before the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
The recovery time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, are you even going to be ready to go? Are you going to be able to play? Like, what if you can't? What if it's delayed, right? And then it was, but if you don't have the surgery, then what if you need it after the season? And the reality is that there's the NFL opportunities there, and then you can't play in the NFL because you need the surgery, and it's gonna. So it was like, I remember and that's the crazy, man. I said I've been involved with so many of these things with you over your life. I remember we sat there and talked about it. I said like I remember your trainer called me. We have a full on conversation about this thing and everything, and go like, all right, like just do it right now, man. Because I already knew Cedric. Like this dude's gonna find a way to. He's gonna overwork himself. He's gonna get back. He's gonna be back. But I still remember, bro. The answer was, we don't know if you need surgery on both of them or not, and we won't know until we get in there. And then so none of us knew. And I remember Charlotte sending me the video of you waking up, and it's you looking down at your feet, like, oh no, both of them. So Cedric had casts on both of his feet, and I remember, man. I mean, this was like it could have been like a major setback, and you know, I think if anyone knows anything about Cedric, I mean, the reality was like oh, this dude's he's gonna push
make it happen. I'm gonna make it shake.
And he did, man. I remember. I think I want to even say you got back earlier than they thought you would.
Hey, I got back like a month earlier. I was able to do camp.
Yeah, and remember though, like I wouldn't even say they were having you running on the treadmills. They had those testing things on you, and you had the top speed of anyone on your team.
Oh yeah,
and this was like
so I got
after,
faster.
This is after having straight 2 ankle surgeries. You know, like so yeah, like for me there was never a doubt. Like I knew Cedric was gonna go to the NFL. It was never a doubt. It wasn't. I just that's why I was like, let's do this thing now, man. And so you go into that season, you're healthy for the first time in your college career, healthy, right? So kind of take us through a little bit of that season.
So I get back, and then I knew I was ready because I ran like 21 or 22 miles per hour that day. I was like, all right, but I'm good. Like I'm running faster than I was before, and I was always like super fast. You know what I'm saying? So we get to the season, and then I remember the very first game, Sabel kept like pulling me out, and I told him I called. I said, look, like I worked my ass off, bro. I said, you cannot be pulling me out, and that was the first time I stepped to him.
We talked about this before
I called him, because I told you, I said, bro, this is some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like I worked my ass off. You know what I'm saying? Like he's taking me out. Yeah.
UNLV? Was it UNLV at home, right?
It was like Middle Tennessee or something like that.
Okay. All right. But yeah, it was it Middle? No, like Eastern.
No. It was a blue team.
Eastern Kentucky.
Eastern Kentucky.
Right?
That's what it was.
Right?
Eastern Kentucky. Yeah.
Damn. All right. Yeah. So I remember that. I remember being so mad during that game, watching that game.
Yeah.
I was like pissed. And I remember seeing the shot of him on the sideline. You could see how mad this dude was sitting on the bench. And we talked after that game, and I was like, you need to say something. Yeah. Sorry. So go from there.
Yeah. So I called him and I said, look, man, like I do my work. I work hard. I said, I'm a team player. I'm the captain. I said, but the fact that you kept pulling me out when I was playing well and we were still in the game, I said, I don't deserve that. And he apologized. He said, you know, I honestly didn't realize that I took you out that much. I said, well, you did. Ever since that day, I didn't come out. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, bro, I worked my ass off. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm leading this team. Like last year, I proved myself. Like I don't understand what the hell you're doing, but you're not. You're not.
It was messing with your
mind. It's not even about being fair. It's like you're disrespecting me at this point. You know what I'm saying? So then after that, he never took me out, and then I balled. I played really well all year. And yeah, I mean, I just had a really good season. And
You
then,
guys were, throughout your career there, you continued to that trajectory as Minnesota. I
and we
mean,
were ranked for the first time in like I don't ever like
yeah,
however many
yeah,
years. Yeah, we were ranked.
yeah.
Like when we went to the senior night, we were playing against Ohio State. Ohio State's like like number 9 or something. We're like number like
Ezekiel
14.
Elliott was there at the time, and Ohio
Yeah,
State was
I smacked
stacked.
his ass up all game. Lit
Oh,
his ass up all
Cedric
game.
had to play, man. I remember sitting in
Yeah.
that game. That was the home at home senior game,
It was
last game of the season.
snowing.
Yeah, it's snowing. I remember
Mm,
my feet because we were sitting in like the bottom row, and I
yeah.
remember all of us, like me, Aaron, Charlotte, everyone, man, like we had to go up at halftime and take our shoes off and put my toes
The
were
feet
legit.
warmers, yeah.
My toes were gonna fall off, bro, like because it was
Yeah,
ice
yeah.
water. But yeah, snowing. You got Zeke in his crop top and everything like that, snowing. But I'm like, Cedric had a dope play on Zeke in the backfield, man. Like it was a great game. They lost 28-14 or something like that. Close game.
Yeah, it was super close.
I remember Ohio State had a few big plays in the game, but yeah, man, it was a big game. Like, but the crazy thing was when Cedric got to Minnesota wasn't playing in games like that. And
it was college game day.
But by your senior year, you guys had put Minnesota into a
On the map.
national stage
Yeah.
of like people paying attention to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Kill was a phenomenal coach. Clays was a phenomenal coach. I mean, personal wise, whatever was solved up, but a really good coach. But it's just and such really good athletes all around there. I mean, they had built the program, man. And the one of the most amazing thing is that the guy at the center of that defense being you, and it was the main part of bringing it all together. One of the main factors bringing together a guy that signed after signing day that wasn't even. I mean, you weren't supposed to be this guy at Minnesota. It wasn't supposed to work out like this,
Not at all.
Yeah. So your senior year ball. That's not even the end of that, man. I remember. So you guys were in a position to win a Big Ten championship. You
I don't want to talk about that.
You got to. He goes into they go to play Wisconsin, man. Melvin Gordon, Wisconsin.
Smacked his ass up all game.
And like really. Well, I mean, man, like that senior.
Bro,
year
I went into that game looking for blood, bro. I was like, we need to beat these bastards, dog.
This dude was flying around.
Played some good running backs, dude.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, no, I played against
Stacked.
freaking Rex Burkhead, Amir Abdullah, Melvin Gordon, Monty Ball, James White, Ezekiel Elliott. Because the Big Ten was the conference of the backs. That's where that's all the backs wanted to go.
Tons running back.
Yeah.
Raheem Mostert.
Oh yeah, Raheem Mostert he went to Purdue, lit his ass up. Couldn't catch him. I lit his ass up when I did catch him.
Yeah. So I mean, just stacked. I mean, tons of backs, but yeah. So you go into that game, and I mean, people don't understand like the Minnesota Wisconsin. That's a really good rivalry there as well. You go into their stadium, and you have a game. You guys have a game. You guys are up at halftime. You have a potential chance right in front of you, right, to go to that Big Ten championship game. It was close. Ended up, Wisconsin outlasted it and ended up winning. But yeah, I mean that game was huge. I think that game was a big part of why NFL teams when they really saw your film and saw what you did.
Every time an NFL team talked to me, they brought up one play from that.
Where you hawked Melvin?
When I hawked Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't believe, bro. I wasn't on the damn screen. And then out of nowhere, I just pop up, and that's why I was like, "Bro, I'm fast as hell." Like,
no,
bro, I'm fast.
So yeah. So like, that's the thing, man. We go through like Cedric's film, man. It's like from a guy who I clowned that said he didn't want to hit when he was in high school. This man figured out how to play some defense and was flying downhill. Like that's what he was known for. When he got when by the time he was when he was done in college, I mean, he one of the 200 plus tackles in your career, something like that at Minnesota. I mean, that's insane from a safety. And yeah, so you do that, you ball out against them. Bowl game, I don't remember who you guys played in the bowl game that year.
We played against Missouri in Citrus Bowl.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so you get to the Citrus Bowl. And we had gone through the whole, we already knew what was going to happen afterwards. We had everything was already planned out for Cedric. We we had gone through all the conversation of the agent stuff and done that whole process in the meantime. Um, Citrus Bowl doesn't really go anywhere like we
Not even
hoped.
close. It's terrible.
It was a bad ending to the story there at the very least. Um, I mean, I don't even know if it needs
Bastard.
really even conversation, but it wasn't the way you like to go out. There was a big game for Minnesota. That was but I mean, it is what it is at the time. So you after that though it was I want to say no, okay. So before that though, so Cedric and I start taking our own hands of figuring out how we're gonna get this dude into the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So before that game, right? Because you had about a month layoff
Mhm.
from the end of your season to that game.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did, if you recall this, bro, we split the games up, all your games, and we went
Oh yeah,
through,
cut them up.
we
Yeah.
marked
Mhm.
all the plays of what ones you want to, what number plays. So we went through every game film and we went through all the plays and we made it and we picked out all the highlights
Mhm.
and Cedric went through, put it together. Then I put it onto a huddle so that we could highlight the thing at the time. And so we made our own highlight film for this thing. Reached out, started hitting up like everyone we could, right? Agents, also I remember I reached out to your position coach at the time. I was said, do you think Cedric's going to get invited to one of the All-Star games? But balled out for 2 years, at least his junior and senior year, should be getting into, East West Shrine, NFLPA. I mean, I don't know, Senior Bowl. What do we got to do? And I remember him saying, no, he's not going to get invited to any of those games. And I remember right then I was like, okay. Like I took that as like that was a personal challenge for me to make that not to be the case, right? And because it is such a, I mean, your coaches hold so much weight with NFL scouts. They really do. I mean, people roll through there and they ask questions, and so when he said that and he said I didn't think so, man, I was like, all right, like, hey, let's get this film. And I'm gonna start sending this to the East West Shrine, NFLPA, Senior Bowl. Like I'm gonna hit everyone up, bro. And so we did this all on our own. Cedric had a family friend that knew an agent, got connected with them, and that's who Cedric ended up signing with, right? But I mean, I remember I hit up the East West Shrine game, Tony Softly, and he was the director at the time, and he watched Cedric's film and was like, "Yeah, I want to get this guy in our game." And man, in NFLPA, like a couple days later, Cedric gets his invite to the game, and I was like, all right, there's one thing off the list. Cool, got you. You're in an all-star game. You figured out the agent process. So you go take us about with that for a little bit. So you sign with your agent, and then what happens?
So I signed with my agent, and then so I went to I signed with my agent before the NFL PA game or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. You
So
actually.
So I signed with my agent, and then they let me know they're going to be paying for everything, and then I fly down to Florida to go train at Wild Water Sports, Worldwide Sports, whatever it's called.
ESPN. Thompson.
ESPN,
right?
it's where they had the bubble for the NBA. That's where all the top athletes go. So I
Yeah.
trained there. They pay for everything. And then I was training just to get ready for my pro day. And like I wanted to go to the combine. I didn't get a combine invite.
Yeah, didn't get a
So
combine invite.
Yeah. So I think you start doing like sending out stuff there, but I never
Bro, I hit up the people for the combine. Like I sent your stuff to them. Like I was trying to like do anything I could. So you went out there first and then you went out for the NFLPA.
Yeah, then I went to the NFLPA, found out that I wasn't going to the combine. So at this point, this is where the inner said, I'm like, fuck everybody. Like I cannot wait till I go to this damn pro day. Like I'm about to fuck up everything.
And your pro day was one of the first ones in the whole list.
Yeah.
Right.
So mine was a lot earlier, so I couldn't train as long as everybody else.
Yeah.
I just remember, bro. So training is training. I went out there training for the 4-day 40 and all that stuff, and I'll never forget this. I remember going to bed that night. I don't have 1 ounce of nervousness in me. I'm like, but when I fucking get up tomorrow, everybody's gonna know my name. Everybody. And I'll never forget this. I remember the first thing was the bench press.
Yeah.
I remember looking at everybody. My last name starts with a T. So I'm one of the last ones on everything because they're going alphabetical order by last name. And I remember all the linemen go, they're like 14 reps, 13 reps. I'm like, all right. I get into there and my adrenaline is rushing. Like I've never had this before because I'm like all these NFL coaches here. I'm like, y'all didn't invite me to the combine. Y'all don't know me. Y'all don't fucking know me today. Bro, I get up under the bench. I got so much adrenaline. I pick up the bench. I put it down. I throw it up. I throw it up so high that my body goes up with it. And I fall. I go down, do it again. And my body goes up. And my coach Pearson, he's a strength coach. He said, Cedric, relax. I'm like, I bet. So I stop. I'm pumping it out, pump it out. 18, 19, 20. I'm like, I'm fucking mad. Bro, you know what I'm saying? And I think I get to like 22, 23. And I got up and there was a scout from the Raiders. I looked him dead in his eyes. I stared at him. And I looked away and I started like clapping my hands, like, let's fucking go. Next thing you know, so we get up, we walk into I beat all the linemen and everybody. I get the most reps. So right there, I'm already like, I already like set the bar. Next thing we do, we go out there. I find out it's the 40. I said, all right.
So hold on.
What?
When we go back real quick, because when you were training, bro, like we would talk like every day when you were in Orlando, and you're like, tell me what I need. Tell me.
Oh yeah.
You told me. I'm like, you need to run. Like, I'm like, you want to get drafted? I'm like, you need to run 4.4s. You run 4.4s. You need to jump 38. You need to do like, I mean, it was straight numbers. I was like, you do this and you go in at like 210, bro. I'm like, getting drafted. Like getting drafted, and you're like, all right. And I remember even through the process, because I kept like, oh, send me the timing, like, but like you don't like to tell me, you didn't want to send me things on the times, but I knew, like, I remember like seeing stuff. I'm like, I'm not even worried. I know it's gonna get it. So all right. So you go in. So now you're rolling to the 40. Now, real quick before the 40, the night before, do you remember running splits out there? All you guys. And someone was
I do remember that. Yeah, right? I do remember that.
And I remember timing the splits on my computer where I could see like the actual real time. And I remember seeing the splits and then going and searching who ran, the top 40s at the combine the year before, or no, maybe at the combine that already happened, right? And I remember seeing Cedric splits. I'm like, dude, this dude's 10 and 20 yard splits were. He was going to demolish people, like demolish. And so I was the night before, like, honestly, like I was like, this guy's going to kill it. He's going to kill, like, he's going to murder his pro day. Like I already knew. All right. So you roll in the 40, go.
Yeah. So I run to the 40. Before that, you actually reminded me of something. I remember you sending me those numbers. I need to be a certain weight. So the morning, I'm fucking drinking water. I'm like, I'm going to make this weight. I don't give a damn. Like I'm drinking water. I want all the weight. So and they weighed me at like 215 or something. Like I'm like heavy. So I got the weight, got the bench, and we went to the 40. And I'm looking at fucking all these scouts. I'm looking at all of them in their face. Like, y'all got me fucked up. So I remember like everybody running 40. I'm like, all right, but I'm about to go. I get down and I like take off. And I know that I'm running. I know that I'm flying. And I go and I get like, I want to say like 4.48 or something. I'm like, really? My first one? I'm like, all right. So I go back, and then at this point, the scout that's sitting next to me, he's like kind of talking shit. You know what I'm saying? They were doing it at the con. They talk shit to you. You know what I'm saying? To see how you are. Yeah. So he's like talking shit. So I ain't paying no attention to him. I'm like, whatever. Like, so I get down, I go. He stops me. Like to say, like you messed up in your start.
Yeah.
So now I'm even more mad. I'm like, all right. So I go back, I take off. And Justin has it on Instagram. I take off. I get back, they clock me, they tell me 4.37.
Yeah.
So that's exactly. I got everybody's. I felt the whole energy shift inside the thing, right? So I'm all right, that ain't shit. Next, the vertical jump comes, and this is what I know. I said, I'm about to fucking cash my check. I'm like, bro, I'm about to cash my check right now. We go to the vertical jump, and it was dope because like it was like the vertical jump, and it was a rope, and this is where all the people they're standing right there. So I'm like geeking, and then Charlotte's right there, and my agent's there.
Yeah.
So
Cameron
I'll never forget this, bro. I'm standing there, and you got to put your hand up so they can measure. And I remember I measure everybody going, nobody's jumping high, right? Everybody's doing like 32 and whatever. And I'll never forget, I put my arm up, they stretch me out, and I stretch all the way up, and I look up at the thing. And you can see this on video. I look up at the thing, and I look at Charlotte, and I look at her, and I just look straight. Bro, I jumped 40 my first jump. Jumped 40 inches.
40,
now, man, I jumped, and you hear on the table, I hit it, and all you hear is, ooh. That's all you hear. And then you hear my agent go, yes, and like clap his hand. And that's when I knew it.
It was anyone who knows like what's Cedric, because like I think anyone who goes back to like set the film, it's like, bro, the dude plays football.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, okay, so the bench, this guy's put some work in. Okay. The 40, like dude can burn. And then it's the explosion thing with that. And then it was like, I mean, dude, Cedric straight up murdered his pro.
Oh no, I killed it. And I knew it. Like when I jumped at 40 and I jumped up and I tried to hit all the damn things, but I didn't get it. I hit another one. I got 40 and a half. And when I fell down and I did like a roll and I like did what and after the rest, I don't give a shit about anything else. You know what I mean? Like I did it. And then I did the drills. I'm like, fuck all that. I don't care. All the news, everybody come. I'm like, I'll bring y'all ass on. Everybody bring y'all ass over here. Come interview me.
Invite me to the combine, huh?
Yeah. So then I told her, I'm talking to them. I'm talking to them. I remember walking out, whole line of damn teams. Everybody want to talk to me. Got me taking tests. I'm there for a whole another hour and a half.
Yeah. You left. I want to say the Chiefs called you back or something.
Yeah, the Chiefs. Yeah, I left. I left home. The Chiefs called me back to take a Wonderlic test and wanted them to interview me. I'm talking to all these teams. I'm like, bring y'all ass on. After that, Vikings want to bring me in. Dolphins fly me out. I went somewhere else.
Cleveland?
Huh?
You go to Cleveland?
I don't remember.
You talked to them. I don't remember if you went there, but you definitely talked. New York Giants.
The Giants. That's where I went to New York, and then that's when I knew. I'm like, this is it. Like I'm getting drafted.
It was not a question. It was.
For sure.
It was like, dude. I mean, I remember like so anytime, but like it was so fun because like being involved. So anytime Cedric would go on a visit, right? So teams can bring in 30 guys, I think, 30 draft picks, potential draft picks. For a visit. And so anytime Cedric was going to a city, I would hit up all the sports people from those towns, the sports writers, because I was this was marketing all over again for college. Like I was like, this is going to work. But I'm gonna like make sure everyone's talking about this dude. So like all the draft people, man, I was emailing his information, his highlight, everything, because like I knew people weren't paying attention originally. So he blows up the pro day. I remember Gil Brandt, who's kind of one of the main draft guys, older guy, used to be a big time front office guy for the Cowboys. I remember him. One of those first, like every day of pro days, he would like kind of list like the stars of the guys who kind of set themselves apart. Remember he mentioned you in the first day, and I'm like, all right, there's the start right there. And yeah, man, like we started like you went to Miami, Omar Kelly. I hit him up right away.
Yeah.
But I was like firing out to all these people, New York, all the big media people in the sports side there that were covering the Giants, because I'm like, all right. So if they know you're there, they're gonna talk about you, and we're gonna make sure we're gonna build a little bit of a buzz here, bro. I was emailing I was emailing NFL coaches, I was emailing all kinds of people, but it was so easy. Like, here's the highlight film, here's a 4.37, a 40 and a half, a 10 something broad. Like, I mean, it was like the guy. If you would have been invited to the combine,
I would have the top numbers on almost everything.
You probably would have got drafted in like the second round.
Yeah.
If you would have been a combine invite. Yeah, he would have murdered the thing.
So they would have looked at me. They would have looked at me as that guy who is underrated, who's super athletic, and we're gonna like make. He's like the diamond in the rough, like the lost gem kind of guy. That's what I would have been if I went to the combine.
Yeah. Because really, I mean, NFLPA game, you had a solid game. It was nothing crazy. But
nothing really, because you didn't get playing time like that. Those bowl games were more about the practices and stuff, not the game.
Yeah. So NFLPA game, man, and that's where we really started kind of like looking at like who else was on the list and whatever, right? Who's going to get drafted and who are you against? So So you go through the process through the draft process, and you know, you kind of do the visits or the workouts. Worked out for the Patriots, worked out for the Texans.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So
Mhm.
so we kind of had a feeling of who was out there, but there was a lot of teams interested, right? You were talking to the
Yeah.
Browns, you were talking to a handful of
Yeah,
other
teams
teams.
were like texting me and stuff on the low too.
Yeah, yeah. So we were pretty sure, man. We were pretty sure you were going to get
Mhm.
drafted. So let's fast forward to draft weekend.
Oh, that shit was terrible.
Draft weekend. So
Ugh.
Cedric gets a place in San Clemente for the
Mhm.
weekend. Amazing, like it looks over the water. And it's
3 stories, bro. It was dope.
it was awesome.
dope.
It was awesome.
Mhm.
So we roll out for that, and it's we're staying there. Cedric's family and Cedric's high school coach David Shaw, his family. So we're all staying there, and kind of run us through that.
So I wasn't really nervous at first. I'm like, first round. Like, I ain't definitely going first round. I ain't stressing about that.
So Thursday
But I
night
really-
when you got there.
Huh?
Thursday night when you got there.
Yeah. So I wasn't really
first
sweating.
round.
Yeah, I wasn't really sweating. I'm like, all right, like I'm just gonna watch this and whatever. And then the second day comes. I'm like, okay. I knew the Giants had a second round pick, and I knew they needed a safety.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it might be a possibility that I might go to the Giants. I had a feeling going to the Giants. I wore like red and blue and socks that day. Like I got like dressed and shit. And then I didn't end up going that day. And this one I started getting nervous. I'm
And
like,
they took Landon Collins, I think,
they
right?
took Landon Collins. Yeah, because he fell to the second round because he had bad
Yeah.
combine numbers.
Yep.
Because he like ran super slow and whatever.
And so I got up there that day on the second that round. I got there Friday evening.
Oh
So
yeah.
We
So
kind of
then-
we kind of knew. I'm like, okay, maybe that.
yeah,
but
it was
like,
a maybe. I wasn't like sad, but I was like, all right, like maybe.
yeah.
So the next day gets up, and I'm like, all right, shit, this is it. You know what I mean? And mind you, on the third day, they start early in the morning. Like they start early with the draft picks. So they start in the fourth round, and I'm like, all right, one of my teammates gets drafted. Damien got drafted. So I'm like, okay, like we starting to get picked up off the board. And at this point, I'm like, somebody else gets drafted before me. Somebody else on my team. I can't remember who it was.
Devondre.
No. It was Devondre was next year. It was Max
Oh,
was the
okay.
second round. Max was the second round.
Max. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Right. So Max
Yeah.
and then Damien. Yeah.
And Damien, and then Cobb, and then now it's just me and Derek. But I knew Derek was gonna get drafted because
Cobb got drafted not that soon before you, right?
No, it's a couple of picks. And I was hella nervous, bro. And then I remember walking, everybody trying to talk to me. I'm like laying by the pool with myself. I don't want to talk to nobody. I remember I walked up. I was like, man, I got to get away from this pool because everybody's like staring at me from the balcony.
Everyone's tripping. And then you weren't up there. So everyone, because like, bro, like I had remember gone through like a chart. I knew the safeties. I knew where.
Yeah.
So then everyone upstairs is looking at me going, when's he gonna get drafted? When's he gonna get drafted? Now I'm like, I don't know. It could be this, right here. And I'm like trying to like chill them out because they keep like looking over at you. Like Sid, I remember Cedric being down there with you at the pool with you, like kind of just like you're vibing, like trying to like stay away from people, but everyone was stressing, which fair enough, man. Like you were too.
Yeah, the tension in the air was thick. So I was like, all right, I need to just go lay in the bed. So I go lay in the bed, and like Charlotte comes in there, and she's like trying to calm me down, and I'm like, man, like I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I'm like scared and blah blah blah. And I remember laying in the bed, and my phone starts ringing, and it's a North Carolina number. I'm like, oh shit. So I grab my phone, and like Charlotte looks at me. I'm like, oh shit. So Charlotte like gets up, and she runs out of the room. No, I answer the phone. I'm like, hello. He's like, hey Cedric, how you doing? I'm like, oh shit, like it's about to happen. So, mind you, so let me back up a little bit. The day that the second day closes, the Browns are texting me like, God, the Browns are texting me like crazy. Hey, like, how are you doing? Blah blah blah. We're gonna draft you the next day. Yada yada yada. So,
the Browns were into you late.
Yeah, they were. So the next day comes, and then go to that story. I answer the phone, and I'm like, hello? And they're like, hey, Cedric, how you doing? I'm like, fine. Hearts pounding.
You don't
Charlotte
know who it
darts
is.
out of the room. Charlotte darts out of the room.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, this is such and such, whatever, from the Miami Dolphins. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So I'm on the phone, and I remember vividly being on the phone. I'm walking out, and everybody's by the TV. Everybody's by the TV.
Yep.
And I walk behind and say, hey, we're gonna take you right now in the fifth
Yeah.
round. And next, you know, I just start
This
crying,
guy
bro. I'm like
falls down to the
bawling, crying.
ground,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. I like fell to the ground. I'm like crying. And I'm like, hang up, but I'm like crying, but nobody's saying anything. I'm just like, let me have my moment. Like I'm crying. Charlotte and my mom like have their hand on my back. I'm like looking down and they're crying. And I remember looking up and like I remember seeing my face across the screen, like Cedric Thompson, whatever. And I just hear Coach Shaw say, yeah, he like hits this stuff. Like that's when everybody started screaming. And then it was like somebody went like bought a bunch of hats and we like took a bunch of pictures and like
Yeah, Shaw and I think we went to the mall to go pick that
yeah.
stuff, bro.
Mhm.
But and the Dolphins, like, I mean, we knew the ones that were interested, and the
Yeah.
Dolphins had 2 picks, like
Yeah.
close, and
Back to back. They had 2 picks back to back.
and they took Jay Ajayi before you, right?
It was Jay, then it was
And
me, then it was a
and
couple
then
more, and then it was Tony Lippett. Tony Lippett.
Oh yeah. So like, so we knew, like, I mean, you look at, you know, if you're really following the situation, you knew like, okay, there's a bunch of picks right here from them. We know they're really interested. So it was like, there was a few throughout the process where, and then they took a safety, someone else took a safety. So like, it was a stressful thing. Cause like, yeah, you see, all right, well, the safety went in the 4th round. The Bears were interested. They took a safety in the 4th round, Adrian Amos. So it was like, they took him, and it was like, oh, damn, there goes the Bears. Like, so you start checking the lists off of like the teams that you're like knew were interested. And I'm like, dude, the Dolphins have not taken a dude. Like, so we thought, and then, bro, yeah, though, when you walked out, man, like, just that, like,
yeah, it was an amazing feeling, bro. It really was. It was an amazing feeling, unlike anything I've ever experienced in my life, and I never will experience it. Like obviously having kids and stuff is way different, but
sure,
when you do something
all monumental, but like,
yeah, but when you do something like that, like I guess under 1%, bro, and I worked so hard. I worked so damn hard. You know, I really did. I worked so goddamn hard, and just for that day, it was like, damn,
it all was for something. It
was crazy, bro. Like I just remember like laying in my bed and I like, God damn, like I did it. Like I really did it. Like I really fucking did it. You know what I mean? Like one of the best days of my entire life, by far, because it was just showing like if you really put your head down and work, bro, you really can do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like all like the stuff I went through, like the surgery and like not liking Coach Savell and like the high school experience, like going through all that stuff. Like I fought through all that. You know what I mean? Like I fought through everything, and I didn't let nothing stop me at all. Not playing defense all my life. You know what I'm saying? Nothing can stop me. I can say that like I really put my head down and like I don't even like saying grinded. I really put my head down and I really believed. You know what I mean? I really believed where I was at, and that day just like was confirmation. Like this is like the ultimate, like you can't go nowhere past this. You know what I mean?
Pinnacle, man. Yeah. As far as becoming a football player, you know, you reach the pinnacle, the dream of making it to the NFL. And it was such a crazy experience. You know, like my own family got to you know, enjoy that experience together. It was something else, man. It's something like you don't know what that's like until you go through it. And it was a very unique thing, man. I mean, and then the situation was amazing, man. We were at that house looking over the water, it was sick, like God was speaking out there, like man, like it's it all paid off. So and then I remember that night when we was like Manny Pacquiao and when
Floyd Mayweather.
That's right, man. That's right. So that, like, it was just a cool experience, man. It was like the whole thing was a cool experience. And so you make it, you get out of there, you move to Miami shortly after that. Your experience in Miami, I mean, what was that like? You know,
it was terrible.
Transitioning from being a college player to being in the NFL.
It was terrible. When you got to the league, it was not about ball. It was about bread.
Yeah.
It was politics. It was terrible. Like Miami was, especially for somebody, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't go out. I just wanted to play football, and I came from
Yeah, Charlotte moved out to
yeah,
Miami, right, when you
yeah,
guys were there, and so
yeah, yeah.
you were living a different life than some of the young guys were.
Yeah, then all of them, to be honest, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like, it was terrible, and the league was just it was a whole nother world. And it was when I realized, like, like this football stuff really isn't for me. I've literally done everything I've ever wanted, and I don't really care to be playing for 10 years or whatever, to be honest. Like, I did what I wanted with football. You know what I'm saying? And I
yeah,
recognized that early, and I kept playing and playing and playing it, but I just wasn't into it anymore. I really wasn't.
yeah.
So yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And that, I mean, you kind of bounced around a little bit in the NFL, gave it a
Mhm.
shot, made some, made some money, got you started off with your life
Mhm.
outside of football. Um,
Mhm.
and for you, I mean, obviously, I was disappointed when it was over because I knew how much talent you had, but
Yeah.
it really it showed the light of what the NFL was. Cause I mean, we
Yeah.
go back, man, we were watching the practice film, man. You were locking up Jarvis. You were
Yeah.
locking up good players, man, and you were
Mhm.
you were playing well. So it wasn't about playing. It was, I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, when you went to New England during camp, man, you were balling at New England. Like it
Mhm.
was like you were a good fool. Like you could play in the NFL, and that's where you
Mhm.
realize it's about timing. It's about luck.
Yeah.
It's about
Mhm.
positioning and where you're at and who else is there. So
Mhm.
it really wasn't. It wasn't the worst thing in the world when you stopped, but yeah, I mean, you were still looking at CFL and things like that. And that's kind of when you kind of jumped into the whole, let me grab this camera and start recording
Mhm.
myself. What pushed you into, what led you to that?
Well, when I got released from the Patriots, I was so sure that I was going to make that team. Like with Miami, I didn't want to be there the entire time. I knew I was leaving. I was going to keep playing. But when I got released from the Patriots, that's when I really realized I'm like, damn, football can really end at any
Yeah,
point. So I did some soul searching. I'm like, well, I used to really like the video camera. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna start a YouTube channel, just like that. Like I'm just gonna start a YouTube
yeah,
channel and just see what happens. Like, and the YouTube channel was more therapeutic for me than like turning into a career. It's like I'm just
yeah,
gonna make videos and do this in my spare time while I train, and that was it. Like it was simple as that. And then it turned into this whole career where like I'm like working with Google and Pampers and freaking Audible, and like I'm working on all these big companies now who want to be a part of my brand because I make a really good product when it comes to my videos. And like I started like a podcast and I'm building that whole brand. I'm building like a clothing brand now. Like we started our podcast cover too. So now we're talking about having like football camps and merchandise and stuff. So I'm really building my entire like how Gary V has like Vayner Media. That's
yeah.
what I'm trying to build something like that for myself.
Yeah, no
Mhm.
doubt, and it's crazy to see the trajectory of your your existence in the social media world with that
Mhm.
because like you said, man, it was the first video. If anyone wants to go back through, as said by me, go scroll through and go to his first video.
Yeah.
And it's funny to see that trajectory. I mean, that was the
Mhm.
first time you figured out, like, let me grab this camera and start
Mhm.
talking to it. I mean, it was
Mhm.
awkward.
Mhm.
It was, and then it just kept growing into this. And then obviously started putting your touches on like the editing side and the
Mhm.
creative side of it.
Mhm.
Where do you, and obviously you built a really strong following, right? I mean, you've had some really
Mhm.
cool experiences, I mean, for people that don't know you, and, earlier on in this thing, when you started blowing up, you went out to VaynerMedia, you met Gary,
Yeah, yeah, they
you
wanted to
met
meet me. Mhm.
met
Mhm.
AJ and great people that they
Mhm.
are, but you've kind of developed your own world in this thing. Where do you see, like you said, obviously you said VaynerMedia, like you see like you building to do these, kind of have all these little arms out there for
Yeah.
this. Is this something that is like for you a lifelong career?
Oh yeah, no, this is my bread and butter now. Because for me, I love telling stories from my perspective, and I love bringing other people on to tell their stories from about real life experiences. And like the YouTube channel and stuff is just one of the many platforms I'm gonna be on. But I see myself having like small groups and speaking and having a team. Like my focus this year is consistency and growth and building a team, to
Yeah,
where I'm just doing like the consulting and stuff like that. And I have like a video editor and a videographer and stuff. It's time to start dishing out jobs so I can build a team. That's my goal
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that'll be exciting, man. It'll be exciting to see that, because obviously you've kind of done this on your own and built it up on your own, and to kind of get it where it's at right now. What is like so what is something that for this year that we can look forward to, other than us firing this Cover Two podcast off that we got going? What is something else that you look forward to in 2021?
I think honestly, cover 2 is like probably one of the most exciting things to me. I'm starting a clothing brand with my podcast channel, and then what Said by Me, my main channel. I just see like crazy growth happening this year to where like I'm gonna be like one of the main creators talked about on the platform because of the kind of videos and stuff I'm gonna be doing. That's really the only thing I'm focused on. And then obviously for me, like personally, like I want to like do really well like financially this year to where hopefully my wife can quit. She can quit her job and come on full time and start her own business that she wants to. So I'm taking a bull by the damn horns, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not playing.
Yeah. No, and for those who don't know, I mean, Cedric's wife, they do things together within the social media, within their, they have podcasts together. Big part of the family dynamic for them with their YouTube and the kids and Cedric's growing family, and that's what's so cool, man. The whole thing, man. We've been at this since before I had kids. We've been I didn't have kids. You weren't married. You were like, right. So like we've kind of brought this up together, man. And that's what's so cool. Cause it's the same thing with even Hunter, man. I've known Hunter since he was a little kid, and now we're doing our other thing together and kind of, and I'll be real. I mean, I think you doing what you've done has helped push me on this stuff. Right. Like, I mean, saying like, oh, dude, man, I could do this too. Like, let me, I want to do this. I want to get in front of here. And so yeah, watching you do what you've done and find the success that you've had with it. Cause I know it's strictly based off your determination to find that success. So yeah, man, I'm fired up to see where everything goes and to, continue to tell some unique stories together.
Yeah, it's going to be lit, bro. I ain't doing no more talking. I'm just doing the work now. I've been talking enough. Like I'm just ready to get to work at this point, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we're going to definitely have to do a follow-up at some point in time because I think we're going to have a lot more to say here in 6 months, a year, and stuff like that.
Just wait on it, bro.
As we move through. But, I think for what we did here with our thing with Small Town Success, man, I think, you've granted, you didn't originally come from this area, but when you moved here, man, you had to find your way out of here. And I think it's the prime example of finding success out of a difficult situation, difficult circumstance, limited resources and things like that. So I think it's the perfect story for showing that you can make it and you can make it out of here and you can make it into any opportunity you want.
No, 100%, dog.
So we appreciate you rolling through, man, and jumping on this with us tonight. We look forward to it, man. We look forward to staying in touch with this.
All right, bro. It was great. Stay lit, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, no problem.
Hey.